Chapter 748. It was not that Su Yun was arrogant, but he needed to know what was going on with the clear sky, holy robe that the old man from the dark place said could restrain the limitless, profound chi. Now that he had Octagon Aniseed as backup, he had a way out. He could give it a try. Of course, other than trying, there was also venting. Endless venting. In the pitch-black horizon, a grayish-black meteor appeared especially bright under the starlight. His appearance attracted the attention of many people at the gate of the Supreme Realm. However, this person did not rush towards the gate of the Supreme Realm, but instead rushed towards the platform that was glowing with light. The Supreme Sect members on the platform seemed to have sensed the arrival of the other party, and all opened their eyes to look at the person. Only one person? No one felt much of a threat. Who is it? The person in charge, who was stationed at the side of the platform, asked loudly. However, the person did not say a word. He directly rushed over and slashed at the person. The sharp sword chi instantly exploded. The man was shocked. He immediately activated the limitless profound chi to block. But the moment the profound chi was released, it was like a storm rushing towards the man, entering his body, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared. It was all absorbed. Su Yun squinted his eyes, and the death sword slashed forward. The man was caught off guard and was directly slashed by the sword. His shoulder was cut open, but when the sword fell down, the sword stopped and was blocked by the limitless profound chi that surged out of his body. Seeing that, Su Yun moved forward. The divine power released by the Imperial Battle Robe immediately wrapped around the man, and in the blink of an eye, the limitless profound chi in the man's body disappeared without a trace. It had actually been absorbed as well. The limitless profound chi that absorbed other profound chi as its main attribute. It was actually absorbed by an even more miraculous power. That person was completely dumbfounded. This sudden change made him unable to think at all. This was like a tiger that had always fed on other beasts, suddenly being devoured by an even more powerful creature. The shock brought about by this was very difficult to digest. The death sword was like a hot knife through butter, directly slicing his body in half. The limitless profound chi that the Supreme Sect was so proud of was actually like nothing in front of the Imperial Battle Robe and was directly absorbed by the Battle Robe. At this moment, Su Yun finally understood why the old man said that he needed to use the clear sky holy robe to deal with the Supreme Sect. I'm afraid that only this divine power can restrain the limitless profound chi. However, when the battle robe absorbed the limitless profound chi, it was not like absorbing the profound strength of other spirit cultivators, absorbing a portion of it into the robe for Su Yun to use, but after absorbing it, it consumed a portion of the divine power. That's right. Not only did he not convert the profound strength to supply it to Su Yun, he even consumed his divine power. Although the consumption of divine power was not much, it also meant that using the Imperial Battle Robe to deal with the limitless profound chi that everyone feared was not an absolute victory. If there were too many of them, there was a chance that they would lose. Su Yun rushed onto the platform and crashed into the crowd. In a blink of an eye, the platform exploded, and the people on top were completely boiling. Everyone started to move. Releasing their profound strength, they directly attacked Su Yun. They did not shout and shout like ordinary spirit cultivator, asking who Su Yun was, nor would they panic and scurry around. Instead, with Su Yun as their target, they immediately launched an attack, their killing intent exploding out. It was extremely terrifying. These people pursued faith, and the power of faith made them fearless, allowing them to not feel fear in the face of danger. And this was also the most troublesome thing for the true devil sect and all the other powers in the myriad heavens realm. They were like robots. They had very few emotions, and some of them had even completely lost them. There was no happiness, no sadness, no fear, no hesitation. However, the current Su Yun did not care if the other party had faith or not. He raised his sword and killed. The divine power of the Imperial Battle Robe was activated, and his entire body was surrounded by a ball of golden light. Any Supreme Sect person who got close to the golden light would have their limitless, profound chi sucked clean by the Imperial battle robe in the blink of an eye, causing all the energy in his body to be lost, like a person who had run out of oil. The death sword slashed down, without any profound strength to obstruct it. It easily defeated its opponent, and with one sword, it was extremely agile. Very soon, bright red flowers of blood exploded in the crowd. The people of Supreme Sect were not stupid. They knew that they would be at a disadvantage if they were to get close to Su Yun, so they immediately used a long-range attack. They brandished the blades and swords in their hands, releasing many mystical, limitless, profound chi-s. The limitless, profound chi swept through the air, as if it was about to tear the space apart. However, such a terrifying move floated towards Su Yun, but was completely ignored by him. The moment the profound chi got close to his body, it was completely devoured by the divine power, and could not harm Su Yun at all. Su Yun snorted. He raised his sword and slashed at the people around him. Hundreds of thousands of people were actually toyed to death by such a person. In the distance, Octagon Aniseed and the Demon Guard were completely petrified. Octagon Aniseed was dumbstruck. His mouth was wide open, as if he could stuff an egg in. After a long while, he came back to his senses, pointed at the crowd, and asked the Bloodstains, "How many seconds can you guys last in there?" "It won't take more than 5 seconds anyway." Blood spoke bluntly, but when he looked at Su Yun, his eyes were already filled with admiration. Devils worshipped the strong. When did Lord Demon Lord become so powerful? Tiske. Looks like our Demon Lord's good fortune is not small to actually have such godly power. Octagon Aniseed sighed with emotion. He turned around and stared at the Supreme Sect and said solemnly, "The Demon Lord has attracted the firepower of the Supreme Sect. I believe that the commander-in-chief of these people will appear very soon. At that time, we can make our move. We must kill their commander. We cannot let Lord Demon Lord down. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir." The Demon Guard shouted. "Drink the forbidden blood." Octagon Aniseed shouted. Everyone took out a gourd from their space bag, opened it, and poured it into their mouths. Gurgling sounds came out, and some of them had bright red blood flowing out of the corners of their mouths. As the blood flowed into their stomachs, the pale skin of the demons started to turn blood red, and the devilish nature in their eyes became even more fanatical and restless. Everyone's breathing became hurried, as if they had been suppressed to the extreme. Eviscerate. Octagon Aniseed drank again. The Demon Guard took out the knives from their waists, raised their left arms, dug out a piece of meat from their arms, and stuffed it into their mouths to swallow. The wound on their arms was so deep that bones could be seen, but the intense pain did not make them feel uncomfortable. Instead, it made them even more spirited, and the smell of blood crazily stimulated their fighting spirit. Octagon Aniseed was ready to take action, while Su Yun was fighting until the sky turned dark. Wherever the death sword danced, a red light would appear, blood and corpses would splatter everywhere. It was especially intense. The souls that filled the sky were crying around him. Su Yun pulled out the tribulation fire again. Both swords came out at the same time. The divine windsword technique was unleashed. The sword was so fast that it was almost invisible. How could an almost invincible existence be defeated? No matter how many people there were in Supreme Sect, they could not do anything to Su Yun. If it was any other spirit cultivator, they would have definitely retreated and temporarily avoided the attack. However, the people of Supreme Sect were different. In front of the gate of Supreme Sect, even if they could not defeat Su Yun, they would definitely not give up just like that. This was the madness of the people of Supreme Sect. Even if they couldn't beat him, they would continue to fight until they were completely annihilated or their enemies were completely wiped out. Flames lingered around the stars. The sword chi surged through the Milky Way. Su Yun was like a giant, trampling on a group of ants. This person is completely immune to the attacks of the profound chi. Continuing to attack blindly will not have any effect. For the sake of the Supreme Divine Tao, everyone listen up, set up the Great Grand Formation, and launch a mental attack on him. At this moment, A deafening roar exploded from within the supreme sect. Looking over, it was a tall, middle-aged man with short hair and 3 scars on his face. The man had straight eyebrows, sunken eyes, and looked rather thin. However, the robe on his body was exceptionally eye-catching, and the imprints on it were all shining with light, looking extremely mighty. To the people of the supreme sect, this voice was like an order that could not be disobeyed. Everyone instantly spread out and surrounded Su Yun in a circle. Following that, hundreds of people rushed out from the crowd, urging the limitless profound qi to revolve around Su Yun at a high speed. The profound qi floated towards Su Yun like a wave of smoke, but stopped 100 meters away from him. Naturally, Su Yun would not let the other party set up the array just like that. He raised his sword and rushed forward, slashing towards the spirit cultivator-s that were spinning around him. Supreme Tao, divine punishment. At this moment, the unibrow man shouted again. With that said, all the supreme sect people present threw the weapons in their hands into the resplendent starry sky. Most of the supreme sect people used swords, blades, and spears. These weapons were drawn into the starry sky and started to spin quickly gathering together. The hundreds of thousands of divine armament-s started to spin crazily. Surging crazily, they got closer and closer to each other, gathering tighter and tighter, as though they were compressing each other, and finally turned into a terrifying silver light, slashing towards Su Yun. This was definitely not a light formed from the profound qi, but a real weapon. The clear sky holy robe could devour the profound strength, but it could not devour anything of substance, and the imperial battle robe was the same. Su Yun stared at the sky, released his swords, and clenched his fists. Clang! A circle of grayish-white qi cover automatically rose up, completely protecting Su Yun. Next dong, it was as if the heavens had shattered and the earth had collapsed. A circle of ripples spread out in all directions. Those existences that were still in the middle of casting the array were all thrown into a mess by the impact. They were in a sorry state. Looking up, he saw that the silver lightning had smashed into the qi cover, but it was unable to enter at all. The qi cover and the lightning were in a stalemate, and the space around them was shattering crazily. When the people who were sent flying saw this, they immediately rushed over and continued to set up the array. And at that moment, Su Yun's power had already been restrained. The unibrow man stared at Su Yun in the distance, his expression cold. Anyone who dares to insult the supreme, divine Tao must be wiped out. The supreme divine Tao cannot be questioned, cannot be tarnished, and cannot be slandered. No matter who you are, even if you are a god, as long as you stand against the supreme divine Tao, you will definitely not be able to survive in this world. Today, let me purify you. With that, the unibrow man raised his hands up high and started to chant a series of awkward and shaky incantations. The profound qi around his body started to move restlessly. The powerful and mysterious limitless profound qi was like a wave rolling around his body, and no one knew what kind of terrifying profound energy he was activating. However, facing all of this, Su Yun, who was surrounded by the supreme sect, was not flustered at all. He raised his blood-red eyes and stared at the middle-aged man in the distance, and suddenly, the corner of his mouth raised into a strange, sinister smile. The man saw it and frowned. However, before he could cast a spell, an inexplicable commotion suddenly came from behind him, followed by a cold and gloomy aura that instantly wrapped around his body. That person's heart sank. He suddenly turned around, but just as he turned his head, he saw a blood-red face. Puffed. The bar-browed man only felt a pain in his chest. He looked down and saw that a hand had suddenly pierced through his chest and directly pulled out his heart. Chapter 749. The unibrow man opened his eyes wide, looking at the devil cultivator that had suddenly appeared in front of him, his face filled with disbelief. How did these guys get here? Moreover, were the thousands of supreme sect people around them heir to them? Why were they able to get close to him so easily? Endless doubts surfaced in the unibrow man's heart. He looked up and finally understood everything. The surrounding thousands of Supreme Sects were currently being turned upside down by the 9 completely crazed Devil Cultivator-s. These Devil Cultivator-s were all like war gods, wielding their blades and swords as they rushed into the crowd to fight. Any profound chi that hit their bodies, other than leaving behind scars, did not seem to have any effect on them. The devil chi rippled in the air along with the blood chi. They did not know pain, they did not know fear, they did not know life and death, and they did not know what they were facing. At this moment, these Devil Cultivator-s were completely controlled by the demonic nature and only existed to kill. These 9 demon guard-s who had reached the peak of their cultivation had already been aroused by the demon-sealing blood and were completely controlled by the slaughter. With them restraining these Supreme Sect people, Octagon Aniseed also had the chance to get close to the Unibrow commander. A palm pierced through his heart, and his body was torn to shreds by the Octagon Aniseed. When this person's soul overflowed, he immediately took out a small bottle that he had prepared beforehand and stored this person's soul into the bottle. Everything was done smoothly and cleanly. Then he shouted in a low voice, "Got it, let's go." When the voice came out, the 9 demon guard-s did not stop and continued to fight crazily. Seeing the Supreme Sect people, it was like a hungry tiger seeing a fat sheep, unable to pull them back. Seeing this, Octagon Aniseed suddenly recalled something. He took out a black leaf and crushed it. The place where the leaf was crushed leaked out a thin layer of green gas that floated towards the demon guard-s. In an instant, the terrifying blood-red eyes of the demon guard finally regained some luster. "Break out of the encirclement. Let's go." Octagon Aniseed drank again. When everyone heard this, they immediately dragged their wounded bodies and rushed out. Octagon Aniseed followed closely behind, his body turning into a ray of light as he shuttled through the crowd. In less than a few breaths of time, he was holding a large pile of bloody hearts. "Lord, Demon Lord, there is no need to stay. Let's go." Octagon Aniseed shouted at Su Yun, who was still trapped in the sea of people. Hearing that, Su Yun immediately responded. He stared at the silver lightning that was still rumbling above his head. He secretly clenched his teeth, suddenly pushed the lightning away, and then suddenly turned and rushed out of the crowd. "The sinners are trying to escape. I also killed Lord Shanhong. We can't let them leave like this. For the Supreme Divine Tao. For the Supreme Divine Tao." The people of Supreme Sect shouted at the top of their lungs, all of them using their flesh and blood to block Su Yun's movements. It was as if they already knew that the limitless profound chi had no effect on Su Yun at all, but they fearlessly blocked in front of Su Yun, not letting him leave. The silver lightning that had been deflected attacked again. Su Yun's departure was blocked. His figure was slow. It was not easy for him to escape from these hundreds of thousands of people. These people were not like the spirit cultivator-s outside the Thousand Cloud Soar Mountain. Back then, all of the spirit cultivator-s had ulterior motives and fought with each other openly and secretly. Although there were many of them, they were just a motley crew, a pile of loose sand, and were nothing to worry about. However, the people they were facing today were different. Their hearts were very united, and their obsessions were even more terrifying, far from what those people could compare to. When the silver lightning struck, Su Yun had no choice but to use his divine power to block and slowly squeeze his way out. However, the surrounding Supreme Sect people attacked Su Yun crazily. Whether it was using the profound chi or his physical body, Su Yun was attacking from afar. At this moment, regardless of whether it was his own divine power or the consumption of the profound chi, both were rapidly decreasing. His face turned pale, as if he could not hold on any longer. Facing such a reckless attack from the Supreme Sect, even a god would not be able to take it. Whatever. Su Yun's face darkened as he activated his profound skill. His body suddenly released circles of 7-colored light. Following that, the illusory images of the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise, the 4 Holy Spirit beasts, once again appeared. Holy Spirit shield. Crash. Su Yun's body was tightly wrapped up by the shield. The people who were attacking Su Yun from all directions received the Holy Spirit shield's counterattack, and all of their attacks returned to their bodies, and even doubled their attacks. In an instant, bang, 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 bang. A series of blood splattered out from the crowd, countless people died, a large number of Supreme Sect people were heavily injured, and a large number of Supreme Sect people fell in front of Su Yun. Anyone who launched a fatal attack on Su Yun died a miserable death. The silver lightning also dispersed due to the deaths of a large number of Supreme Sect people. This was the most terrifying part of the Imperial Battle Robe. When wearing it, one would never be afraid of the number of opponents. It was just that the price of using the Holy Spirit Shield was heavy. When the Holy Spirit Shield was unleashed, Su Yun's body was like a silk cocoon. It was instantly sucked out, and there was not much profound strength left in his body. Back then, in the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain, when Su Yun was close to a person, he could absorb all of their profound strength and transform a portion of it for his own use. However, the unique, limitless profound chi that these people used could not be used by Su Yun. Even if he swallowed it, it could not be transformed, thus the limited profound strength in Su Yun's body was used less and less. However, the Holy Spirit Shield had cleared a path of blood for Su Yun, and he immediately used his last bit of strength to rush forward. Rumble, rumble, rumble. At this moment, a dull sound came out again. The heavy and huge Supreme Sect's door slowly opened once again, and one by one, the members of the Supreme Sect dressed in white robes flew out. They were like locusts, densely packed as they flew out. Following that, a clear and indifferent young girl's voice floated out from the door. "Filthy people, you need to be cleansed by the light of the Supreme Sect. Don't leave. Accept the purification of our Supreme Sect." As his voice fell, a golden shockwave shot out from the door, like a golden pillar that shot straight towards them. The Supreme Sect people on the way were struck by the pillar and turned into ashes, showing how terrifying the pillar was. However, the other party did not care about the lives of the Supreme Sect people at all, and this terrifying attack flew straight towards them. Su Yun turned his head to look, only to see that the sky pillar was already right in front of him. He took a deep breath, turned around, and pushed the Imperial Battle Robe to the maximum, his divine power exploding once again. However, before the sky pillar could even get close to Su Yun, a figure suddenly jumped out from in front of him. The figure waved both of his hands and spun out a gigantic, round demon face shield. Bang! The surrounding space trembled. The surrounding Supreme Sect people were directly sent flying by the shockwave from the shield. Some of the injured were directly killed. Seeing that, Su Yun was startled. He looked up and realized that the person in front of him was actually Octagon Aniseed. Octagon Aniseed retracted his hand from the big shield, turned and rushed towards Su Yun. His delicate and slender hands immediately hugged Su Yun and rushed into the distance. So the black shield was a magic treasure. The pillar of light bombarded the shield for 3 to 4 seconds before shattering it. Then, the pillar of light disappeared. Su Yun looked inside the door, only to see a lively and cute young lady walking out. The young lady was exceptionally beautiful. Dressed in a white robe with a golden phoenix pattern, she was dignified and beautiful, and at that moment, she was staring at Su Yun with eyes that were as calm as water. Octagon Aniseed's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he had already escaped from the side of the Supreme Sect and rushed towards the teleportation circle that the demons had prepared beforehand. The demon guard were stationed at the side of the array, and when the Supreme Sect chased after them, they immediately released Devil Chi to cover them. Octagon Aniseed brought Su Yun into the teleportation circle. Seeing that, the demon guard immediately followed. The demons squeezed in one by one and returned to the True Devil Sect. Inside the True Devil Sect, the Devil Cultivator that was guarding the other side of the teleportation circle immediately wanted to destroy the formation, but Octagon Aniseed anxiously shouted, "Wait!" The Devil Cultivator was startled for a moment. A few rays of light flashed at the head of the array. Following that, a few Supreme Sect people rushed in. Seeing that, Octagon Aniseed immediately shouted, "Quickly break the formation!" Bang! The Devil Cultivator did not dare hesitate, and immediately destroyed the formation. The cracked teleportation circle immediately lost its effectiveness, and the connection between the Supreme Sect and the True Devil Sect was cut off. Octagon Aniseed and Su Yun stood up and saw Octagon Aniseed pointing at the few Supreme Sect members that were chasing after them, and shouted, "Quickly capture them." The demon guard immediately rushed over, broke their hands and feet, and subdued them. Before these Supreme Sect people could even resist, they were suppressed by their opponents. Seeing that, the other devil cultivator s all heaved a sigh of relief. They were lacking information on the Supreme Sect. They never thought that these few Supreme Sect people would actually deliver themselves to their doorstep. Bring them down and interrogate them. Make them tell us the Supreme Sect's plan this time. Octagon Aniseed heaved a sigh of relief, waved his hand, and shouted, "Yes, Vice Sect Leader." The demon guard shouted and was about to take him away. But at this moment, one of them shouted indifferently, "Filthy people, do you want to extort a confession from us? Give up. The sacred people of Supreme One will never give in to you. Although we have fallen into the hands of you evil beings, our souls and spirits have always been close to the Supreme Divine Tao. Today, we will abandon this body and forever throw ourselves into the embrace of the Supreme Divine Tao, forever chasing after that Supreme Tao." With that said, the temperature of the Supreme Sect's body suddenly rose, and with a bang, it exploded. Bang, bang, bang. The rest of the Supreme Sect members did not hesitate at all. They all shouted out their slogans, and then their bodies exploded. Flesh and blood splattered all over the demon guard. In a short moment, all the survivors died. Their self-detonation was actually caused by the spirit, to the point that even their souls disappeared after death. Seeing this scene, Octagon Aniseed was stunned. How ruthless! It seems like the Supreme Sect captives are not easy to deal with. Su Yin sighed and said, "Don't worry, we still have one." Octagon Aniseed took out the pitch-black bottle and said seriously. Chapter 750. The team sent out by the Supreme Sect had already suffered such a setback. It was indeed out of everyone's expectations. After receiving this news, to those forces that were determined to resist the Supreme Sect, this was no less than giving themselves a shot of confidence. The operation of Octagon Aniseed this time gave everyone sufficient confidence. Of course, the Supreme Sect had also become a laughingstock because of this. After losing their commander, the team was in chaos, and there were casualties. He believed that the Supreme Sect would have to delay their attack on the True Devil Sect for a few more days, and the True Devil Sect would have more time. However, although he had confidence on his side, it did not affect the Supreme Sect at all. They would definitely not lose their morale because of this. These people no longer had much emotion to speak of. Even if their companions died tragically in front of them, they would not have any reaction. Therefore, the operation this time, for the Greater One Sect, only delayed a little. To Chi Go and Su Yun, the biggest benefit was naturally not time, but also the commander Chen Hong, whose soul was imprisoned by Chi Go. Inside the White Bone Pavilion, all the elders were gathered. Su Yun and Chi Go sat on the chair at the front, while the Great Clan Elder, Demon Guard, and the other elite sat on the left and right. Octagon Aniseed held a small bottle, looked at the crowd, then looked at the bottle and said, "What do you think? Are we going to release Chen Hong's soul and ask it now?" "Of course." The two devils immediately replied. As the commander of the Supreme Sect's operation this time, Chen Hong definitely knows a lot of things. Let him out and see what he has to say first. "That's right." Vanquished Demon Heart nodded and said, "The leaders of the major forces have already learned about the Vice Sect Master's capture. They are all waiting for your news. We know nothing about the Supreme Sect. Vice Sect Leader, quickly release that person's soul. Let's see if this Supreme Sect still insists on their laughable Tao of Supreme at this time." The demon shouted. The scene was a little chaotic. It's better not to open the bottle. At this moment, a voice interrupted. Octagon Aniseed turned his head, looked at Su Yun, who had a solemn face, and asked, "What does Lord Demon Lord think?" Su Yun stood up, walked over, took the bottle in Octagon Aniseed's hand, and looked at it. After a while, he asked, "What bottle is this?" "Blood Jade Gold Grade. It can store souls." Any soul that enters it will fall asleep. He laughed. In other words, I can't communicate with the soul in the bottle. Yes, that will be troublesome. Su Yun said indifferently. If we directly release him, with the crazy obsession of the people of Supreme Sect, he will probably destroy his own soul without even saying a word to us, so we cannot release him just like that. With that said, Octagon Aniseed nodded in agreement. Didn't the few Supreme Sect people who are going to be used as captives also self-destruct their souls and die? Perhaps Chunhong would do the same. Then what should we do? A devil cultivator asked. Let me think about it. Octagon Aniseed rubbed his chin and sat cross-legged on the chair with a serious expression. Su Yun cupped his fists and leaned against the pillar, but his mind was thinking about his next move. His cultivation was not high, but he was able to ignore hundreds of thousands of them. Maybe the people of the Supreme Sect had already noticed him, so he had to be careful the next time he moved. However, what Su Yun was more concerned about was the beautiful young lady who walked out of the door. The young girl was extremely beautiful, and her appearance did not seem to be that big, but her strength was terrifyingly strong. This light pillar that caused people to tremble flew over, and on the way, it struck many of the powerful Supreme Sect people, but these people did not even have the time to dodge. Their bodies and souls were completely destroyed, and they died miserably. It could be seen how terrifying the light pillar was, and the young lady's methods were even more cruel, as though the lives of the Supreme Sect people were like grass in her eyes. Got it. Just then, a voice interrupted Su Yun's thoughts. Looking at the source of the voice, he saw Octagon Aniseed jumping up from his chair, standing on the chair with his hand raised high up in the air. He shouted, I know what to do. Haha, I'm really smart. As expected of your vice sect leader. Ha ha. All the demons. Octagon Aniseed squinted his eyes and laughed. I remember that there's a magic treasure called the Underworld Mirror. This magic treasure can control a person's spirit, control, and peek into his spirit world. The soul belongs to the spirit body. As long as we can obtain the Underworld Mirror, we can dig out everything Chun Hong knows about the Supreme Sect. Then, where is the Underworld Mirror? Someone asked. This. Octagon Aniseed scratched his head, then chuckled. I don't know either. Then aren't you just spouting nonsense? Su Yun glanced at him. Hey, this isn't nonsense. Although I don't know its specific location, I know its approximate location. It is said that the Underworld Mirror is near the River Styx. Near the River Styx? When the two devils heard this, their faces were filled with shock. The River Styx is so big. How can we find it nearby? This. Octagon Aniseed continued to scratch the back of his head as he thought. Hearing that, Su Yun looked at the two devils. What kind of place is the River Styx? Is it very big? Reporting to the Demon Monarch, the River Styx is a river at the edge of the true Devil Realm. Many people say that the River Styx flows from the Nether Realm, and the true Devil Realm and the Nether Realm might be connected together. The river at the edge of the true Devil Realm is very long, and after walking along the river for 10 days and 10 nights, you will be able to see the Nether Sea. The Nether Sea is filled with an extremely terrifying death aura that does not dissipate all year round. It is as dense as fog, and the death aura is extremely fatal. It is rumored that there were once spirit sages who died on the spot after touching the death aura, although I do not know if it is true or not, but no one dares to go to the Nether Sea. 10 days and 10 nights to reach the Nether Sea? Then this River Styx is long enough. Su Yun continued to grin and said, Then what do you plan to do with the Underworld Mirror? Is the Underworld Mirror really near the River Styx? About this. Actually, I only heard about it from others. Octagon Aniseed was a little embarrassed. It is said that there's a guy who brought the Underworld Mirror with him and wanted to use this treasure to enter the Underworld to save his dead lover. However, he died in the River Styx, and the Underworld Mirror landed near the River Styx. As long as we find that person's corpse, we can retrieve the Underworld Mirror. Is this a rumor? I've heard of it too. An elite immediately clapped his hands and shouted, I remember that this is a story that those good demons brag about all day long. Actually, if you think about it carefully, this is completely unrealistic. After a person dies, their soul will only ripple in the world. How could it go to the nether realm? Furthermore, since that person possessed the underworld mirror, how could he die near the river Styx? This matter is very suspicious. Hearing that, Octagon Aniseed's face and ears immediately turned red. This rumor might be true. Besides, aren't we at our wits' end right now? This subordinate is only offering his own opinion. Perhaps what the vice sect leader said is right. Seeing that Octagon Aniseed was embarrassed, the elite immediately cupped his fists and said, "Not bad, not bad." Octagon Aniseed snorted twice. This time, he finally stopped talking nonsense. He curled up in his chair, looked at the crowd, and said, "Then do you have any plans? Send someone to try." The great elder said indifferently, "That's right. Although this matter is not very credible, we have no other choice right now. If we do not have the underworld mirror, this Chan Hong is of no value to us. But with the underworld mirror, we can understand the Supreme Sect a step further and even know their next move. This will be of great use to us in the future when we fight against the Supreme Sect. So, no matter what, we have to give it a try." The two devils answered, "Then who's going?" "I'll go." Just as Octagon Aniseed finished speaking, Suyin took over and directly walked towards the door. "Demon Lord, you're going?" Octagon Aniseed was stunned. "You just gone through a great battle and consumed a lot of energy. You haven't recovered yet. So why don't you let someone else go?" "No need," Suyin said indifferently. "I have a magic treasure that can find the exact location of the underworld mirror. Furthermore, if there are dead bodies floating near the river Styx, you guys will not be able to get close without the protection of a divine object, so I will be the most suitable person to go." With that, Suyin immediately flew out of the True Devil sect with his sword and headed towards the edge of the True Devil realm. Time was of the essence, and there was no room for delay. Suyin left, but Octagon Aniseed was not at ease and called out, "Bloodstains, quickly send the demon guard to protect Lord Demon Lord's safety." "Yes," Blood immediately replied, and was about to turn around and make arrangements. But with his speed, could these Devil Cultivator S keep up with Suyun's movements? Suyun's performance outside the Supreme Sect had already been extremely good. If not for him, how could the True Devil Sect have fought for so much time and even had a preliminary understanding of the Supreme Sect? More importantly, Suyun's actions this time had given the spectators more information, allowing them to understand that the True Devil Sect had the capital to contend against the Supreme Sect. Wait! At this moment, a voice suddenly came from outside the door. Bloodstains stopped in their tracks. Everyone looked over to see that the person who walked in was actually the Three-Bone Dragon. With a smile on his face, he walked in and said to the Bloodstains, "Captain Bloodstain, the Sect Master has just given the order for you to immediately return to the Sect Master's cultivation grounds. He has a mission for you." Hearing that, Bloodstain did not make a sound and only looked at Octagon Aniseed. Octagon Aniseed's face was a little ugly, but he still nodded. No one dared to disobey the Sect Master's orders. Although Octagon Aniseed knew that the Three-Bone Dragon wanted Suyin to have some mishap along the way, he understood that the Three-Bone Dragon would not joke around with the Sect Master's matters. Seeing this, Bloodstain immediately led the Demon Guard outside the door and left. The Three-Bone Dragon laughed even more. He looked at the people in the room and walked in. Chapter 751. What are you doing here? You're not staying in your little garden, and you're running around again? Octagon Aniseed looked at the Three-Bone Dragon, then sat down on a chair, crossed his arms over his chest, and crossed his legs. The Three-Bone Dragon smiled, took a few steps forward, and cupped its fists towards Octagon Aniseed. "Greetings, Vice Sect Leader. If there's nothing else, then hurry up and go back. We still need to discuss how to deal with the Supreme Sect. Don't let anyone else in." He waved his hand with an impatient look on his face. When the Three-Bone Dragon heard this, its expression changed slightly, but it quickly restrained itself. He did not refuse to leave, not to mention that he had already opened his mouth. He did not dare to be disrespectful, so he cupped his fists and bowed to leave. As the beloved disciple of the Sect Master, amongst the people present, other than Octagon Aniseed, everyone else had to be respectful to him. Even great elder Yuan Mo was the same. However, Octagon Aniseed did not buy it. After the three-boned dragon left, Octagon Aniseed's expression finally recovered a little. No one made a sound. This was not the first time the three-boned dragon had been so domineering, because it was the sect master's beloved disciple. However, no one could do anything about it. In fact, the three-boned dragon had not done anything too out of line, so everyone could only endure it. Lord Demon Lord has gone to search for the enlightenment will mirror. We cannot just wait here. Whether or not we can find enlightenment will mirror is still a problem. We must come up with a second strategy to prepare for a rainy day. The round demon spoke, breaking the awkwardness. Supreme Sect has been attacked by us. They will definitely take other measures and send more people to monitor them in front of Supreme Sect to see what they will do next. He said, "Yes, sir. In addition, second demon, it's almost time. Send someone to Lonely Mountain and let the leaders of those forces come here to discuss countermeasures. Since everyone is standing on the same front, it's time to talk openly and honestly." "Yes, Vice Sect Leader. I'll go and do it now. Next, we can only wait and see." After leaving the White Bone Pavilion, the three-boned dragon did not obediently return to its own small garden. Instead, it directly left the True Devil Sect. There were people outside the sect, and from afar, one could see the figures of many Devil Cultivator. The Devil Cultivator were all preparing for the great battle. As a famous sect in the True Devil realm, the True Devil Sect's every move involved everything in the True Devil realm. Now that the True Devil Sect had provoked the Supreme Sect, how could the True Devil realm not pay attention to it? At the moment, there were countless Devil Cultivator-s watching the fire from the other side, looking up with anticipation as they stared at the True Devil Sect. If it was not for the Devil Cultivator-s, they would be able to see the light. If not for the three True Devil Sects encampment, many people would have they. At this moment, there were many Devil Cultivator gathered on the shore of the Blood Sea. Seeing the three-boned dragon walking over, all the Devil Cultivators stood up and welcomed it. "Brother, you're finally here. We've been waiting for you for a long time. Not long ago, I caught a few spiritualists crush their hearts, ground their bones into powder, and burned their souls to refine some soul wine. Today, I've specially brought it for you guys to try. Come quickly, let's have a good drink. Brother, you're finally here. We've been waiting for you for a long time. Not long ago, I caught a few spirit cultivator-s, crush their hearts, ground their bones into powder, and burned their souls to refine some soul wine. Only when the True Devil Sect is in trouble did I have the chance to come out. If it was in the past, even if you wanted to see me, you wouldn't be able to." The three-boned dragon said. All the demons sat down facing the sea of blood. The bald Devil Cultivator passed a bowl of wine to the three-boned dragon and drank it. The three-boned dragon fiercely exhaled and shouted for good wine. The demons laughed out loud. They continued to drink. The bald Devil Cultivator filled up the three-boned dragon again, but a smile appeared on his face. "Brother, although we have not known each other for long, we have met before. When you did not enter the True Devil Sect, we were still eating the flesh of those dead Devil Cultivator-s in the north. Now that you have entered the True Devil Sect, you have soared to great heights. Don't forget about us." "How could I forget?" The three-boned dragon laughed. "The battles between the Devil Cultivator-s are extremely frequent. The corpses of the dead Devil Cultivator-s contain a large amount of devil energy. Eating it can increase the speed of cultivating devil energy. Now that I think about the past, I am truly moved. Brother, you're already above everyone else, but we are still rolling around at the bottom. Below one person and above 10,000 people." The three-boned dragon turned its head to look at him, chuckled, and shook its head. "You're wrong. In the True Devil Sect, I can only be ranked fourth." "Fourth? Sect Master, Vice Sect Master. No matter how useless you are, you should still be third." The bald Devil Cultivator did not understand. A group of people surrounded him, all of them looking at the three-boned dragon strangely. However, the three-boned dragon suddenly slammed the bowl in its hand on the ground, causing it to tremble a few times. The bowl had already turned into gas, and the place where the palm had slammed was also directly blasted open a large hole. Everyone reacted in time, and only then did they not fall into the hole. However, from this action, everyone understood that the three-boned dragon was currently incomparably angry and angry. His face was ferocious, and his teeth were clattering, as if he had thought of something bad. Other than me, there's another person. Now this guy has succeeded the position of Demon Lord that should have been mine. In the true devil sect, his position is actually above mine. The three-boned dragon said these words while gnashing his teeth. With that said, the surrounding devil cultivator all let out cries of surprise. Demon Lord? Isn't this something that should be inherited by you, brother? Who is more qualified than you? This was impossible. Absolutely impossible. The bald devil cultivator shouted. What's impossible about it? The three-boned dragon roared in annoyance. That brat is the successor of the ancient great devil Chong, Gu, and Mo. That idiot Octagon Aniseed respects Chong Gu and Mo the most. And when he found out that their successor had appeared, he brought that brat over to inherit the position of Demon Lord. How was that kid's cultivation? An existence that isn't even at the level of a spirit emperor. What? Not even reached the spirit emperor? Then what qualifications do you have to be the Demon Lord of the true devil sect? However, with the support of Octagon Aniseed, no matter how low his cultivation is, he can still become the Demon Lord. This is not fair. Brother, this is too unfair to you. Why should Octagon Aniseed have the final say? The master of the true devil sect is your master. Brother, can you bear with this? The bald devil cultivator said anxiously. Although Master is the sect master of the true devil sect, Master has been cultivating wholeheartedly all year round, and it is very difficult for me to even see him once. Most of the matters in the sect are settled by Octagon Aniseed, but in reality, the power of the true devil sect has already fallen into Octagon Aniseed's hands. The three-boned dragon shook its head and said in a deep voice. It then grabbed the soul wine and started drinking again. The bald devil cultivator glanced at the three-boned dragon, then secretly signaled to the few people beside him with his eyes. He then walked over and patted the three-boned dragon's shoulder, comforting it. Brother, it's not worth it. Not worth it. Sooner or later, I will find Octagon Aniseed to settle this debt. The position of Demon Lord will be mine sooner or later. I will take back everything that these people owe me. The three-boned dragon put down the wine jar, a terrifying demonic aura surging in its eyes. Brother, I don't understand. Is the position of Demon Lord that important to you? Your position shouldn't be able to be replaced by anyone, right? Why are you so persistent? Even if you're not the Demon Lord, that brat can't do anything to you, right? The bald devil cultivator asked another question that he had always wanted to ask. With that said, the three-boned dragon snorted and said solemnly, What do you know? The position of Demon Lord is not as simple as you think. This is a special title that has been established since the creation of the true devil sect. It is not only power, it also represents supreme benefits. Once you become the Demon Lord, you will have the authority to enter the ancient tomb. And what I want is to enter the ancient tomb. Ancient tomb? Yes, the ancient tomb. The tomb of the previous sect masters of the true devil sect, and also the place where the previous sect masters of the true devil sect left behind their divine objects. It can be said that the ancient tomb is a great treasure trove. Even the sect master could not enter such a place. Only the Demon Lord could. So, if I become the Demon Lord, then I will be able to inherit all of this. At that time, forget about the true devil sect. Even the entire true devil realm will be in my pocket. However, after so many years, the true devil sect has never elected a Demon Lord. I originally thought that I had a chance, but I never thought that such a bastard would pop out. So that's how it is. When everyone heard this, they cried out in alarm. In that case, did that brat already obtain the benefits of the ancient tomb? What a pity! All of the previous sect masters of the true devil sect were great demons that were comparable to gods. The things they left behind must be at the level of a divine object. That's right. How powerful is the ancient true devil sect? Ever since the great war of immortals and demons, after the death of Chong Gu Mo, The true devil sect has been declining, and many of the devil profound arts in the sect have been lost. The true devil sect has also been reduced to its current state. If it was still Changgu Inmo's era, how would the supreme sect dare to act presumptuously in the true devil sect? Sigh. The demon sighed again and again. The three-boned dragon glanced at them and snorted. That brat's cultivation has yet to reach the spirit emperor. His cultivation is not enough. Entering the ancient tomb is courting death, so he has yet to obtain those divine objects. But this is only a matter of time. I expect that once he steps into the spirit emperor, he will be arranged to enter the ancient tomb by Octagon Aniseed. Oh, hearing that, the bald devil cultivator's eyes lit up. Brother, according to what you said, you still have a chance. Humph. If that brat dies, I will have a chance. Then why don't you make a move quietly? The bald devil cultivator made a chopping motion. A crazed and sinister look surfaced on his face. Why didn't you kill him? Once he dies, who else can compete with you for the position of Demon Lord? Huh, do you think I don't want to? The three-boned dragon said angrily. However, I don't have the slightest chance. Octagon Aniseed is on guard against me, and doesn't even let me get close to him. How can I make a move? Damn you, Octagon Aniseed. Thinking of this, the three-boned dragon's anger grew by a few folds. Oh, brother, did you plan to kill that brat a long time ago? It seems like you're not afraid of Octagon Aniseed's scolding. TCH, a mere vice sect leader. I'm not afraid of him. I killed that brat. I don't believe that he would dare to do anything to me. But unfortunately, there's no chance. The three-boned dragon clenched its fists. The bald devil cultivator glanced at the few devil cultivator beside him, then laughed. Hee, brother, just because you didn't have a chance before doesn't mean you don't have a chance now. Isn't Supreme Sect fighting with your real devil sect now? Let's create a little trouble and borrow Supreme Sect's hands to kill that brat. What do you think? Hearing that, the three-boned dragon raised its head and stared at the bald devil cultivator. Do you have any ideas? Chapter 752. Of course I have an idea. I'm just afraid that you won't be willing. The bald devil cultivator said. To be able to kill that brat who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth, to let me sit on the throne of the demon lord and obtain the inheritance of the ancient great devil. What else would I be unwilling to do? The three-boned dragon coldly looked at the few devil cultivator-s and said, If you have any ideas, just say it. Don't dawdle. Hee, brother, since you've said it like this, then we can only speak our mind. The bald devil cultivator came closer and said in a low voice, Actually, it's very easy to deal with that guy. Isn't the Supreme Sect opposing the real devil sect now? How about this? You first send that brat away by himself, and let him carry out some random mission, and then reveal the next step of the real devil sect's plan to the Supreme Sect. If the Supreme Sect obtains the plan, they will definitely attack the real devil sect, and at that time, Octagon Aniseed will definitely bring a large number of experts from the real devil sect to rescue them. The people of the real devil sect were all dealing with the experts of the Supreme Sect, who would have the time to care about that brat. An existence that has not even reached the Spirit Emperor. Brother, if you want to deal with him, it should be as easy as flipping your hand, right? After you kill him, you can blame his death on the Supreme Sect. Then, wouldn't everything be perfectly resolved? At this point, there was no need to say anymore. The three-boned dragon was not an idiot. He also understood the bald devil cultivator's plan, but he was still a little worried. Reveal the actions of the real devil sect to the Supreme Sect? This isn't too good, right? If the sect finds out, I'm afraid I'll be locked in the Death Devil dungeon and tortured for eternity. What are you afraid of? Or is it inconvenient for you to come into contact with the people of the Supreme Sect? If you don't want to, I can help you with this. The bald devil cultivator said in a low voice. When the three-boned dragon heard this, it turned its head and looked at him meaningfully. However, it did not say anything and only remained silent. After a long time, if I do this, I'm afraid the real devil sect will suffer a crushing defeat. You think the true devil sect is too weak. The true devil sect is a great demon sect that can contend against the tyrants of the immortal world. Their strength is far from what we have estimated. The Supreme Sect is indeed not weak, But to destroy the true devil sect, we still need some time and experience. The bald devil cultivator stared at the three-bone dragon with a serious expression. Now that the words were out in the open, he did not hide it anymore. Seeing the hesitation on the three-bone dragon's face, the bald devil cultivator spoke again. Brother, think about it. If you miss this opportunity, then you will really miss the opportunity to obtain the ancient tomb's treasures. You will never be able to take back everything that belongs to you. Your status, your dignity, your magic treasure, your cultivation, all of these will be lost. Right now, that brat and the vice sect master dare to bully you like this. In the future, when their foundation is stable and they win over the hearts of the true devil sect, then will there still be a place for you in the true devil sect? I'm afraid that when that time comes, even your master, the sect master of the true devil sect, even he can't suppress these two people, so you guys will be nothing. These words were like a bone-scraping knife, scraping the bones of the three-bone dragon and stabbing into his heart. He clenched his fists, stared at the bald devil cultivator, and stood up from the rock. I will never give up on what belongs to me. Me? On a vast expanse of soil, a figure on a flying sword was flying at a fast speed. The sky was still the familiar dark sky of the true devil realm. There was no one in the distance, not even half a living being could be seen. The surroundings were incomparably open, and the soil on the ground was black and red in color. The air was filled with the thick smell of blood. Su Yun kept the heavenly seeking treasure bell in his hand and increased the speed of the flying sword beneath his feet. The heavenly seeking treasure bell gave him a good piece of news. The enlightenment mirror did indeed exist, and it was just as Octagon Aniseed had said. It was near the river Styx. It seemed that this trip would not be in vain. After about 6 hours, he arrived at the location given to him by the heavenly seeking treasure bell. The heavenly seeking treasure bell still only gave Su Yun a rough location, so he had to rely on Su Yun to find it. However, when he arrived at the side of the river Styx, the scene in front of him caused him to shudder. The water of the river Styx was black and red, just like the soil beneath his feet. However, the edge of the river Styx was deathly white. It was filled with white and cold skeletons. There were both humans and beasts, and they were like white bricks that covered both sides of the road. A large amount of death aura floated over from the river Styx, enveloping Su Yun. He immediately activated his divine power to isolate the aura of death. The aura of death was extremely terrifying, to the point where it was even stronger than the sword chi and evil aura of the Thousand Cloud Sword Mountain. He could not stay in this kind of place for long. Su Yun rushed into the midst of the white bones, used profound chi, and shook the white bones on the ground, searching for the enlightenment mirror that might be hidden within the white bones. Leave. Just then, a sudden shout sounded in Su Yun's ears without any warning. Su Yun frowned. He immediately retreated and looked around. Who is it? It's just a dead man. Brat, quickly leave. This place doesn't belong to you. Doesn't belong to me? Su Yun snorted. He pulled out the tribulation fire sword from the sword sheath and waved it at the white bones below. The defeated sword blade released blazing flames. With a swing of the sword, flames soared into the sky, blazing endlessly. The fireworks smashed onto the white bones on the ground, burning them into ashes. All right, the voice came out again. It was unknown if it was praising Su Yun or if it was angered by Su Yun's sword. The flames burned all the bones on the ground, and with a gust of wind, the ashes were blown far away. However, the ground was empty, and there was no trace of the enlightenment mirror. Crash! At this moment, the sound of water could be heard. The strange river Styx that was filled with death aura rippled, and a figure crawled out from the river. Seeing that, Su Yun's eyes landed on the ground, and his hand tightened its grip on the sword hilt. It was a skeleton with a pitch-black body. It held a pitch-black heavy blade, and its pitch-black eye sockets emitted a little red light. The water of the river Styx flowed down its clean bones. It walked over step by step, and the sound of bones grinding against each other could be heard. I warned you to leave, but why didn't you listen? Don't you cherish your life that much? Don't you know that there are many people in this world who fear death and desire to live? Don't you know that a lot of people are envious of people like you? The black skeleton said coldly. The sound it made was like a knife scraping against glass, sharp and ear-piercing. Who are you? Don't waste your breath. Since you've chosen to stand here, then fight with me. The black skeleton raised its long blade, the blade flashing with a cold light. The aura of death splattered everywhere. It took a step forward and rushed over like a gust of wind. Its blade slashing horizontally, it was unbelievably fast. Su Yun's expression congealed. His reaction was not slow at all. The tribulation fire sword blocked the black skeleton's long blade. The profound energy passed through the sword's body and shook. Wong. A large number of ripples spread out, shaking all the skeletons in the distance into powder. Good strength. The black skeleton snorted, retracted its blade, and released its blade. Its movements were indescribably fast, slashing toward Su Yun again and again, each blade faster than the last, each blade fiercer than the last. The brutal power mixed with a strange death aura. It was completely restrained within the blade, and only when it came into contact with the tribulation fire sword would it explode. If it was an ordinary 7th stage Sky Spirit Master cultivator, the weapon in his hand would have flown out long ago. His arms would have been shattered, and he would vomit blood as he retreated. It would be difficult for him to even stand, but Su Yun's profound strength was dense, and with the protection of the Imperial battle armor, his speed was not slow either. The black skeleton only used ordinary moves to fight with him, so it would not be too difficult for him to deal with it. Of course, Su Yun did not activate the divine power of the Imperial battle robe. If not, the profound chi around the black skeleton would have completely disappeared. It was rare for this fellow to be so interesting. Su Yun could not help but want to have a good fight with it. The two of them clashed with their swords, and the light and shadows of their swords were especially intense. However, the black skeleton became more and more alarmed. 7th stage of the Sky Spirit Master? This person seemed to be only at the 7th stage of the Sky Spirit Master. But how could his speed and strength be so strong? It completely surpassed the existence of the Spirit Emperor. This is too terrifying to be able to display such a level of cultivation. What would happen if the Spirit Emperor were to fall? The black skeleton knew that it could not do anything to Su Yun. The speed and strength that it was proud of did not have any advantage in front of the opponent. But there was one thing that the black skeleton was good at, and that was that the angle of its blade was different from Su Yun's. Although the black skeleton's blade was big and thick, and seemed to be extremely clumsy, it was pervasive and crafty. Although its attacks were all blocked by the tribulation fire sword, to be able to use such a thick and wide blade to such a superb level, the black skeleton's strength could not be underestimated. Ding ding dang dang. The sword shadows and blade lights interweaved chaotically. The profound chi's surging ripples were like fireworks that rippled from the point of collision between the blades and swords. The human and skeleton's figures were also scurrying around in the sky and on the ground. The sword chi that was flung out directly shattered the flat ground around them, as if it was about to collapse. Eat my horizontal death blade slash. The skeleton shouted as it held the blade with both hands and slashed down from the sky. The blade's edge shot out 100,000 feet long shadow. Devil Windbreak. Su Yun did not dodge or retreat. The sword body surged with devil chi, transforming into a huge tiger that collided with the blade shadow. Chi, 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 bang. The saber shadow and the demonic tiger exploded. The strong impact caused the two of them to temporarily separate and retreat. All the dried-up rocks and broken bones in the surroundings were destroyed. Even the river Styx was affected, and ripples continued to appear. The black skeleton did not use any profound skill. It only used a simple blade technique, and Su Yun did not use his divine power, and used his sword techniques to welcome it. Although this battle could not be considered earth-shattering, Su Yun and the skeleton felt extremely satisfied. In a battle between martial artists, what attracted them the most was not victory or defeat, but the process. They enjoyed the feeling of profound technique alternating and enjoyed the surging feeling of the sword and blade colliding. A person who always cared about victory or defeat was definitely not a martial artist. At most, he was just an assassin. Stop go. However, the skeleton raised the black saber and stabbed it into the soil. Seeing that, Su Yun immediately kept the tribulation fire sword. A man and a skeleton stood facing each other. Chapter 753. It's been a long time since I've fought to my heart's content like this. Brat, you're not bad for a 7th-stage Sky Spirit Master to have such strength. It's simply unbelievable. It could be said to be a miracle. Did you hide your cultivation or tamper with it? Otherwise, how could you have such a method? The skeleton laughed out loud. His voice was no longer as sharp as before. Instead, it had a hint of boldness to it. Sir, you are thinking too much. I am indeed only at the 7th stage of the Sky Spirit Master, but you did not use your full strength. If you were to fight with your full strength, maybe I would not be so relaxed. Su Yun laughed. Although the Imperial Battle Robe had the ability to tamper with one's cultivation, he did not use it. Didn't you also not use your full strength? The black skeleton said without any trace of politeness. Su Yun laughed, but then heard the black skeleton speak again. Brat, your swordsmanship is amazing. I admire it. But this is the River Styx. It is a place of trouble. I advise you to leave quickly. Otherwise, I can only kill you according to the rules. River Styx? A place of trouble? Who are you? I'm just a gatekeeper. You don't need to ask. Hurry up and leave. However, I will not leave until I find the enlightenment will mirror. Enlightenment will mirror? The black skeleton revealed a surprised voice. The 2 red lights in its pitch-black eyes grew larger as it asked, Did you come here for the enlightenment will mirror? That's right. Do you know the whereabouts of the enlightenment will mirror? If you know, please tell me. I will definitely leave immediately after obtaining the enlightenment will mirror and will definitely not disturb you again. It's not a matter of disturbing you. Kid, don't you know what the enlightenment will mirror is? Let me tell you, this is an item from the netherworld. It is completely different for what you Devil Cultivator S use. It is best for Devil Cultivator S not to use netherworld items. Otherwise, they will only harm themselves and others. From your words, it seems that the enlightenment will mirror is with you. Su Yun's eyes tensed up. That's right. The black skeleton readily admitted. The item is indeed with me. And in fact, it should have been mine, but for some reason, I lost it. The owner of the enlightenment will mirror was controlled by the enlightenment will mirror, and his soul could not control itself. So the enlightenment will mirror brought him to find me, and return the item to its original owner. Hearing that, Su Yun no longer doubted Octagon Aniseed's words. This enlightenment will mirror was indeed a powerful divine object that could affect the soul. It's fine if you want the enlightenment heart mirror, but I can't give it to you. I can only lend it to you. Do you want it? The black skeleton said. Borrow? That's good too. I'm just using it, and will not occupy it for a long time. If you agree, Su Yun will be eternally grateful. Su Yun hurriedly said, All right, I'll lend it to you. As the black skeleton spoke, it raised its long, black, bony hand and flipped it left and right. A bit of spatial aura burst out from its fingertips, and then a hexagonal, brownish-red disc appeared in its hand. With a light toss, the disc flew over, and Su Yun caught it with a wave of his hand. If it was an ordinary person, I would definitely not lend this enlightenment will mirror to him. However, you are very special. I admire your swordsmanship very much, so I will make an exception and let you take the enlightenment will mirror away. Su Yun kept the enlightenment will mirror and cupped his fist towards the black skeleton. Su Yun will remember your kindness. If there's a chance in the future, I will definitely repay you with all my might. All right, don't say any more. Hurry up and leave. The black skeleton was rather impatient. Su Yun did not delay any further and turned to leave. When he flew up into the air with his sword, the black skeleton shouted again. Kid, remember, this was borrowing. The time limit is only 10 days. If you are unable to return it to me within 10 days, then you will have to bear the consequences yourself. 10 days? Consequences? Su Yun was suspicious, but he still shouted, "Got it. Thank you." He fled into the distance. In the White Bone Hall of the True Devil Sect, Octagon Aniseed and a group of elders were still nervously discussing the current battle. At this time, not only were there the higher-ups of the True Devil Sect in the hall, there were also sect from other realms. Everyone was gathered together, and the scene was bustling with noise and excitement. Looking at the current situation, our strength can be said to be on par with the Supreme Sect. Even if the people from the Supreme Sect really attack us, we don't have to be afraid at all. That's right. The people of the Supreme Sect mistakenly believed in the wrong path and walked further and further on this path. All of them lost themselves and only lived for the sake of the Supreme Sect. This sect should not have existed in this world for a long time. This time, we must join forces and eradicate the Supreme Sect. That's right. My son was bewitched into the sect by the Supreme Sect. I heard that last month because the limitless profound chi in his body suddenly lost control. His body exploded and died. If not for the bewitchment of the Supreme Sect, how could my son have died so tragically? I must take revenge for this. My husband is the same. This debt must be settled. We can't tolerate the Supreme Sect. Under the leadership of the experts of the True Devil Sect, let's fight our way over. Right, let's fight. The people in charge of the various forces shouted angrily. Their voices were loud and clear, causing the hall to be extremely noisy. Everyone was extremely excited, but this was also reasonable. After all, the people who dared to come here and stand on the same side as the True Devil Sect, most of them hated the Supreme Sect to the core. Octagon Aniseed sat cross-legged on the chair and yawned. His eyes closed and his head nodded, as if he was dozing off again. The great clan elder looked at the dozing Octagon Aniseed and coughed twice. The hall quieted down, and Octagon Aniseed slowly opened his eyes. Seeing that the great clan elder was looking at him, he immediately put on a serious look. Seeing that no one was speaking, he awkwardly smiled and said in a serious tone, "Everyone is right." Then, does any hero have a better suggestion? As soon as these words were said, the quiet hall began to boil again. Reporting to the eight-toothed Grandmaster, I suggest that we immediately send people out to fight and directly bring them into the Supreme Realm. A conflict of this scale is already a war, and yet you're acting so recklessly? Don't tell me you don't know what to do. Then what do you think we should do? I suggest we do this. Why don't we? Everyone started to become impatient with each other again. Seeing this, Octagon Aniseed felt bored and breathed heavily. Not long after, he rested his chin on his hand and dozed off again. Seeing this, the great clan elder secretly shook his head and did not say anything else. The second elder and the second demon looked at the scene and quietly said to the great clan elder beside them, "Great clan elder, didn't the vice sect leader say that he invited these people to discuss countermeasures and, at the same time, to consolidate the hearts of the people and strengthen the team? Why aren't you saying anything?" The vice sect leader naturally has his own plans. We don't need to worry about it. Furthermore, unifying the hearts of the people is not something that can be done with just words. The most important thing is for everyone to fight together. The round demon said in a low voice, "Right now, many people have different attitudes towards the Supreme Sect. There are differences in opinion, and even if they are persuaded, it will be useless. Only after everyone has experienced a few battles will they be able to understand the current situation. Just watch." The two demons nodded. Although Octagon Aniseed seemed to be very undisciplined and indifferent towards everything, in reality, everything he did was watertight and orderly. This was also the reason why he was able to become the vice sect leader of the True Devil Sect. Report. Just at this moment, a hoarse roar sounded from outside the Hall of Bones. Immediately after, a demon cultivator rushed in like the wind, causing everyone to be shocked. Octagon Aniseed suddenly opened his eyes, stared at the person who rushed in, and shouted, "What happened?" The man knelt down, knocked his head on the ground, and shouted anxiously, "Vice Sect Leader, something has happened. When we were resetting the Demon Mountain's defensive line, we were suddenly attacked by the Supreme Sect, and now the entire Demon Mountain has turned into a battlefield. Lore by M.O. is leading the 50,000 Devil Cultivator-S of the True Devil Sect and fighting a bloody battle with the people of the Supreme Sect. Demon Mountain is extremely anxious. Vice Sect Leader, please send experts to support us. As soon as he said this, the entire audience went into an uproar. Impossible. The two demons rushed forward and grabbed the Devil Cultivator, roaring in a low voice. Demon Mountain is such a hidden place. How would the people of Supreme Sect know about it? Moreover, why would they attack when we are resetting the defensive line? This is absolutely impossible. Second Elder, calm down. The round demon went up to stop the two demons who were about to go berserk. The Devil Cultivator was scared out of his wits and fell to the ground, trembling. Everyone present revealed looks of panic, and Octagon Aniseed's face was even more solemn. The Demon Mountain's defensive line was actually a defensive line that the True Devil Sect had secretly opened up. There was only a gate that connected the two realms between the Supreme Sect and the True Devil Realm. But in order to counterattack against the Supreme Sect, Octagon Aniseed ordered people to secretly construct a teleportation bridge in the Demon Mountain, intending to send an elite group of people to ambush the Supreme Sect through the teleportation bridge after the decisive battle with the Supreme Sect, causing them to be attacked from the front and back, unable to take care of the front and back, and allowing the battle to be favorable to their side. This news was known to many of the forces present, but they did not know the exact location. This was related to the success or failure of the battle, so they had to be concealed. However, the Supreme Sect still found out about this news and made their move when the defensive line was reset. The reset of the defensive line meant that the teleportation bridge had been completely connected, and the people of the two realms could enter and exit through the Demon Mountain. He stood up and walked forward. As he approached the great clan elder, he said in a low voice, "There are spies among us. Send someone down to investigate." The great elder nodded. Then he walked straight out of the hall. "Immediately gather the team and follow me to support Demon Mountain. Demon Mountain must not be lost. Otherwise, the defensive lines we set up before will be meaningless. Supreme Sect can directly enter and attack my True Devil Sect. At that time, the battle situation will worsen, and everything will be over." "Yes, sir." Everyone immediately responded. All the sects gathered their experts and headed towards Demon Mountain. The people of the Hall of Bones all walked out and gathered at the drill grounds, preparing to follow Octagon Aniseed towards Demon Mountain. In the corner, a figure was secretly watching all of this. "Very smooth," the figure muttered, the corner of his mouth raised into a strange smile, and he suddenly turned around and left. Chapter 754. Su Yin was sent to search for the Underworld Mirror, and the Underworld Mirror is near the River Styx, so he must be in the River Styx right now. The Wind Devil Valley is the only way to the River Styx. Regardless of whether Su Yin has obtained the Underworld Mirror or not, he will definitely pass by the Wind Devil Valley. Let's finish him off in the Wind Devil Valley. The three-boned dragon coldly muttered to itself as it rushed out of the True Devil Sect and headed towards the direction of the Wind Devil Valley. After flying out of the valley, the bald Devil Cultivator and the rest were waiting. When they saw the three-boned dragon flying out, everyone's eyes lit up. "Brother, how is it? How's the situation over there?" The bald Devil Cultivator hurriedly came over and asked with a smile. This group of idiots. When they found out that something had happened to Demon Mountain, they were all scared half to death. They have already gone to Demon Mountain, so you don't have to worry. The three-boned dragon snorted. Hee, that's good, that's good. Since Octagon Aniseed and the others have left, then no one will be able to disturb you, right? Then, let's set off and find that so-called demon lord to settle the score. The bald Devil Cultivator laughed. The three-boned dragon looked at him and snorted. "Don't do anything later. I will personally kill this person." No problem, no problem. Come, let's go now." With that, the group flew into the distance. The three-boned dragon's eyes were blood red. Its entire body was overflowing with an extremely vicious aura. When he thought about how he could immediately take revenge on Su Yun, his heart seemed to burn. "Octagon Aniseed, Su Yun, You two bastards, this time, see how I'll take care of you. What belongs to me must be mine. No one can take it away. The three-boned dragon gritted its teeth as it thought. All right, have you contacted the people from Supreme Sect? At this time, the three-boned dragon seemed to have thought of something and suddenly asked. I've contacted them. Don't worry, the things bestowed by the Supreme Sect are all on me. After you take care of Su Yun, I'll give you half of it. The bald devil cultivator laughed. All right. The three-boned dragon nodded in satisfaction, then asked, Then, how many people did Supreme Sect send to sneak attack Demon Mountain this time? Not many, just a few tens of thousands of people. After all, it was too hasty, and the Supreme Sect was not fully prepared either. Their goal this time was only to force the true Devil Sect to cancel the teleportation bridge in Demon Mountain. Otherwise, they would always be a threat to the Supreme Sect. The bald devil cultivator laughed. Is that so? That's good. Otherwise, if something were to happen, I would be unable to avoid suffering. The three-boned dragon said, Ha, brother, you're thinking too much. If the real Devil Sect is really defeated, we can just join the Supreme Sect together. The bald devil cultivator laughed out loud. The three-boned dragon did not say anything, but secretly started to think. The Wind Demon Valley was not far from the true Devil Sect. After flying for about half a day, the few devil cultivator entered the entrance of the Wind Demon Valley. In the silent and desolate Wind Devil Valley, the violent winds roared. Not a single blade of grass grew inside and outside the valley, and there were no living creatures. It was like a ghost domain without people. The three-boned dragon took the lead and rushed into the valley. It landed on top of the valley wall and waited. Under the influence of the devil chi, the dim light continued to corrode the Wind Demon Valley. A small existence of the Sky Spirit Master. Everyone can just wait here. As long as Su Yun comes, we will capture him. The bald devil cultivator laughed. However, the three-boned dragon ignored him and directly sat at the side, meditating and waiting for Su Yun to arrive. Seeing that the three-boned dragon was ignoring him, the bald devil cultivator was not angry. He signaled to his companions beside him with his eyes. Everyone understood and immediately walked to the side to take out some scrolls and spread them on the ground. Seeing this, the three-boned dragon opened its eyes and asked, What are you doing? Brother, don't worry. Aren't we afraid that Su Yun will run away? Let's set up some array seal, and when Su Yun comes, we will immediately control him. The bald devil cultivator hurriedly explained. Hearing that, the three-boned dragon was quite angry. Remove it. Brother, why? If I can't even deal with a mere Su Yun, how can I be the demon lord of the true devil sect in the future? Remove them all. Brother, Su Yun is definitely not your match. But think about it. Since this person is the demon lord and has the protection of the 8 teeth, I'm afraid that he has already obtained a lot of benefits from the 8 teeth. If he has some strange magic treasure and lets him run away, the consequences will be severe. At that time, not only will the people of the true devil sect know that you want to kill the demon lord, even the matter of Demon Mountain will be held accountable to you. The bald devil cultivator said seriously. When the three-boned dragon heard this, its eyes shook. After thinking for a while, it did not say a word. Seeing that, the bald devil cultivator revealed a faint smile and nodded to the few devil cultivator behind him. The devil cultivator understood and continued to lay out the scrolls. After they were done, the devil cultivator stood beside the three-boned dragon and waited quietly. One day later, the sound of something tearing through the air came from the horizon. It was extremely loud and clear. The strong wind in the Wind Demon Valley suddenly increased by several points. The three-boned dragon suddenly opened its eyes and looked towards the sky. He saw a man wearing a black robe flying over from afar while stepping on a pale white sword. Su Yun. The three-boned dragon's expression immediately became extremely sinister as it squeezed out these 2 words from its mouth. The devil chi around his body became tyrannical. His fighting spirit ignited. His eyes instantly turned blood red, his arm moved, and a pitch-black bone whip appeared in his hand. Crash! The devil chi burst forth, soaring into the sky, scattering the thick clouds, and rushed towards Su Yun, who was flying over. Su Yun, who was carrying the enlightenment while mirror towards the Wind Demon Valley, felt the overbearing devil chi and immediately stopped. With a slight wave of his hand, the divine power of the imperial battle robe was activated, and the aggressive devil chi immediately vanished into thin air. He looked towards the source of the devil chi, only to see the three-bone dragon scurrying over from below with its bone whip in hand. Three-bone dragon? Why are you here? Su Yun raised his eyebrows and asked indifferently. Su Yun, in the past, with Octagon Aniseed protecting you, I cannot touch you. But today, Octagon Aniseed no longer has the time to care about you. I want to see who else can stop me. Who else can save you? The three-bone dragon growled, raising its bone whip and striking toward Su Yun. Su Yun immediately understood. It seems like this three-bone dragon has yet to give up on the position of Demon Lord. This time, it probably came here to take care of me, right? However, how did he leave the true devil sect? Didn't they say that he couldn't leave Xiao Yuan as he pleased? Su Yun stared at the pitch-black bone whip that was flying towards him. His expression was neither fast nor slow. When the bone whip was about to arrive, the pale white flying sword under his feet immediately flew upwards, and a pale white light streaked across the sky. Crack! The pitch-black bone whip broke in an instant. What? The three-bone dragon was startled. Before it could react, its chest was struck by two heavy kicks, causing it to fall from the sky and fall into the Wind Demon Valley. The three-bone dragon hurriedly stood up, but just as it moved, waves of heat came from its body, followed by intense pain. With a wah sound, it spat out a mouthful of blood that emitted a black light. What was going on? The three-bone dragon was already trembling with fear. Wasn't Su Yun only at the 7th stage of the Sky Spirit Master? He had the strength of the Spirit Emperor. Why? Why couldn't he defeat him? The strength of that kick just now? Even he couldn't keep up with the speed of that sword strike. How is this possible? He must have been careless. The three-bone dragon secretly comforted himself in his heart. What kind of trash is Su Yun? He couldn't even be considered an orthodox devil cultivator. Such a person was not worthy of being the Demon Lord. If it wasn't for Changgu and Inimo, how could he have come to the true devil realm? And me, the sect master's only direct disciple, with a pure bloodline, is the most suitable candidate to succeed the Demon Lord. No one is more suitable than me. Thinking about it, the three-bone dragon's hatred could not be suppressed and gushed out. He stared straight at Su Yun, ignoring the tearing pain in his chest. With a tap of his feet, he planned to attack again. However, in the next second, two streaks of gray light suddenly shot out from behind him, directly piercing through his arms. Pada. Both arms flew into the air. Demon blood spurted out crazily. The three-bone dragon's pupils instantly dilated, its face distorted, and it once again fell from the sky. Bang! He landed on the ground, panting with all his might. His mouth was filled with blood. Both of his arms were broken, and the devil blood that sprayed out dyed the ground beneath him red. He looked extremely miserable. Su Yun frowned and looked in that direction. The few devil cultivator-s behind the three-bone dragon had activated the scroll that was placed on the ground a long time ago. The scroll shot out profound chi and crippled the three-bone dragon. And at that moment, the bald devil cultivator was looking at Su Yun with a smile, and then waved his hand. So more than 10 terrifying grayish-white profound chi-s shot out from the scroll and struck towards Su Yun. Z. The profound chi approached Su Yun and disappeared on its own. These were all pure profound chi-s. It was impossible for them to break through the divine power of the imperial battle robe. They would only be devoured by the divine power and replenished for Su Yun. Seeing that Su Yun was completely unharmed, the bald devil cultivator was startled. Su Yun descended from the sky, carrying the tribulation fire sword. He walked towards the few devil cultivator-s. Who are you? We? He. It doesn't matter who we are. What's important is that the two of you have to make a trip today and follow us back to Supreme Sect. The bald devil cultivator sneered. Zhang Lu, Gray Devil, why are you doing this? The three-boned dragon that was lying on the ground used up all its strength as it gritted its teeth and roared. He never would have thought that the people behind him, who were usually brothers with him, would actually ambush him at this critical juncture. Why? Hee, you idiot, don't you know yet? We have long since pledged our allegiance to the supreme sect, the bald devil cultivator said in disdain. The number of supreme sect people besieging Demon Mountain is not tens of thousands, but hundreds of thousands. When I received the information you provided, I immediately informed the people of Supreme Sect, and they accepted your plan on the spot and immediately made their move on Demon Mountain. And you and Su Yun, one is a disciple of the sect master, and the other is a devil sect demon lord. Both of your statuses are not low. Under the orders of the Holy Maiden, I specially brought the two of you back. As long as I bring the two of you back, the Supreme Sect will give us countless treasures. And treasures, huh? Loud laughter resounded through the clouds. When the three-boned dragon heard this, its face turned ashen. He had been used all along. Chapter 755. Hearing that, Su Yun's expression did not change, but turned to the three-boned dragon who was lying on the ground like a dead dog. Are these people you know? Su Yun, who do you think you are? How dare you speak to me in such a tone? Although the three-boned dragon had fallen to such a state, its mouth was still stubborn as it angrily shouted at the person standing in front of it. You're already like this, yet you still want to save face. Su Yun shook his head. It has nothing to do with you. Bastard. Sooner or later, I will kill you. The three-boned dragon roared like a wild beast. It was impossible to imagine just how much he hated Su Yun. However, in the next second, a shrill scream burst out from his mouth again. A white light flashed, and the two legs of the three-boned dragon were cut off. This white light, it was the deathly white tribulation fire sword in Su Yun's hand. The injuries inflicted by the tribulation fire sword meant that the legs of the three-boned dragon would never be able to heal. Kill me if you dare. I'm the sect leader's disciple. Su Yun, if you have the guts, then kill me. The three-boned dragon shouted at the top of its lungs. Its eyes were filled with hatred. It wanted to immediately swallow Su Yun alive. He only placed the sword in his hand in front of the three-boned dragon, crouched down, and said indifferently, There's no need to kill you, but I have to tell you one thing. This sword of mine is very special. Anyone who is injured by it will not be able to heal. Even if the great Luo, golden immortal, descends to the mortal world, he will still be unable to do anything. In other words, you will never be able to walk with your legs again. Do you understand? What? The three-boned dragon was stunned. Su Yun patted his shoulder, then stood up and walked towards the bald devil cultivator. Then, you are from the Supreme Sect? Su Yun asked. However, his words did not receive a reply from the bald devil cultivator. Instead, the man waved his hand again, and the scrolls behind him once again shot out a large amount of profound qi, smashing towards him. Then, Su Yun did not dodge and continued forward. The Xian qi that came crashing over was like the wind, hitting his body and disappearing without a trace. Seeing that, the bald devil cultivator was immediately dumbfounded. What's going on? Qi to protect his body? But did this guy have such a powerful, profound energy? His cultivation didn't seem to be very high. Whoosh! Suddenly, Su Yun disappeared in front of him. The bald devil cultivator immediately exploded and anxiously shouted, Be careful. This guy is not a 7th stage Sky Spirit Master cultivator. As soon as he finished speaking, there were several ear-piercing sounds of flesh being cut open. The bald devil cultivator suddenly turned around, only to see the heads of the devil cultivator behind him being chopped off one by one, their bodies falling to the ground, blood flowing all over the ground, and their souls slowly flowing out of their bodies. All of them were killed. The bald-headed devil cultivator widened his eyes. His vision blurred a few times, and when he looked up again, that terrifying person was already in front of him. He raised his sword and slashed forward. Good. So fast. The bald devil cultivator hurriedly used his qi to block, but before the qi could be released from his body, he felt a pain in his hands. He looked up and saw that his 2 arms had already disappeared. Plop! His neck tightened, and the bald devil cultivator was lifted up. Su Yun had unknowingly appeared in front of him, and with one hand grabbing onto his neck, in the blink of an eye, the bald devil cultivator discovered that the profound qi in his body was like a collapsing mountain. It had disappeared without a trace, and he could no longer use the slightest bit of profound strength. The bald devil cultivator struggled, but could not escape from Su Yun's iron pincers. Someone from the Supreme Sect? I didn't expect you to be here. Su Yun stared coldly at the bald devil cultivator, and then slowly raised the tribulation fire sword in his hand, preparing to kill him. Seeing that, the bald devil cultivator's face turned green and anxiously shouted, "Stop! Don't kill me! Don't kill me! I'm not from the Supreme Sect. Please don't kill me. I beg you." "Didn't you say you were from the Supreme Sect?" Su Yun said coldly. But he still did not kill him. This devil cultivator was very strange. If it was someone from the Supreme Sect, he would most likely be prepared to die for the sect, but he did not, and instead begged for mercy. A real Supreme Sect person would definitely not be like this. I'm just cooperating with the people from the Supreme Sect." The bald devil cultivator trembled as he shouted. "Cooperation? How do we cooperate?" Su Yun let go of his hand and said indifferently. The bald devil cultivator sat on the ground, enduring the pain in his body, and said honestly, "The people of Supreme Sect have promised me great benefits, and I will provide them with information." Just like that, it's just a simple cooperation of benefits. I have known the Three-Bone Dragon for a long time, and he was fortunate enough to be taught by the True Devil Sect's sect master, and became his disciple. I plan to use him to obtain information about the True Devil Sect, and go to the Supreme Sect to exchange for some treasures. Demon Mountain. I found out about the matter of Demon Mountain from the Three-Bone Dragon, and now I just need to hand you and the Three-Bone Dragon over to the Supreme Sect, and let the people of the Supreme Sect successfully brainwash the two of you. Hearing that, Su Yun broke out in cold sweat. He had always thought that the people of Supreme Sect were crazy in their beliefs, but they did not have much shrewdness. From the looks of it today, he was gravely mistaken. If this Baldy succeeded and captured him and the Three-Bone Dragon back to the Supreme Sect, after a round of brainwashing, then he and the Three-Bone Dragon would definitely work together with the Supreme Sect. At that stage, the True Devil Sect would probably be powerless to reverse the situation and would definitely be taken down by the Supreme Sect. When the Three-Bone Dragon in the distance heard the Baldy's words, it was already in a daze. It laid on the ground, and other than gasping for breath, it did not make a sound. "Why didn't the Supreme Sect preach to you?" I'm only cooperating with them. I do not plan to join the sect, so I do not accept the teachings." "Is that so? You are really lucky. Don't you know that those who do not accept the teachings have all been wiped out by the people of the Supreme Sect?" The bald devil cultivator's face became abnormally pale. Su Yun was too lazy to speak anymore. He kept the tribulation fire sword, grabbed the bald devil cultivator and the Three-Bone Dragon, and rushed towards the True Devil Sect. From the bald devil cultivator's mouth, he found out that the Supreme Sect was currently fighting with the True Devil Sect in the direction of the Demon Mountain. This battle was completely out of the True Devil Sect's expectations. Perhaps the True Devil Sect did not expect the Supreme Sect to know that they had set up a teleportation bridge at the Demon Mountain, and when they were opening up the bridges on both sides, the Supreme Sect took advantage of the situation to enter. However, with the bald devil cultivator as an informant, coupled with the Enlightenment Will mirror, he could use it to control Chun Hong's soul, so the True Devil Sect was not completely at a disadvantage. The bald devil cultivator kept on wailing, while the Three-Bone Dragon was like a dead pig, its face ashen, enduring the spoils without making a sound. Very quickly, Su Yun returned to the True Devil Sect. When the disciples of the Devil Sect saw Su Yun grabbing two people and returning, one of them was a Three-Bone Dragon, they were immediately shocked. "Where's the eight-toothed sect leader?" Su Yun asked a disciple of the Devil Sect. Reporting to Lord Devil Lord, the Vice-Sect leader has led the sect's elites and experts to Demon Mountain to support them. "Who else is in the sect?" "Great Elder, the Round Demon, is still here." "Where is he?" "I don't know yet. Tell him to come to the Hall of Bones immediately," Su Yun said, and then dragged the two of them into the hall. Very quickly, the round demon walked in. The bald devil cultivator was completely ignored by him, and his gaze directly landed on the three-boned dragon that was like a corpse on the ground. Lord Devil Lord, what's going on? The round demon asked. Su Yin did not hide anything, and directly told him about the collusion between the three-boned dragon and the bald devil cultivator. What? The three-boned dragon actually betrayed the true devil sect. The calm face of the round demon immediately turned solemn. There is nothing too important on the three-boned dragon's side. The battle situation in Demon Mountain is very serious. Elder Yuanamo, you should immediately go to the front lines to gather manpower to support Demon Mountain, and also ask the sect leader to take charge of the situation. I will use the enlightenment will mirror to control Chen Hong's soul and ask him about the next step of the Supreme Sect's plan. Su Yun said, and took out the enlightenment will mirror from the space bag. No problem, but Lord Devil Lord, did you really obtain the enlightenment will mirror? Of course. Su Yun took out the item. Seeing that, the round demon sighed with emotion. I never thought that the enlightenment will mirror would actually exist. With this, Chen Hong's captive is finally valuable. We must return this within 10 days, so we don't have much time. Return it within 10 days? What? Doesn't this thing belong to you, Demon Lord? Of course not. Actually, I obtained the enlightenment will mirror from a black skeleton. It said that it was a gatekeeper, but I don't know what kind of gatekeeper it is. It warned me that I must return this item within 10 days, or else I will have to bear the consequences. Su Yin said. Hearing that, the round demon was silent for a moment, then said, Lord Devil Lord, can you let me take a look at this enlightenment will mirror? Su Yin handed it over. The round demon carefully examined it for a while, then pressed his hand on the surface of the enlightenment will mirror and closed his eyes. A moment later, he slowly opened his eyes and muttered, So that's how it is. So that's how it is. It really is a treasure. Does the great elder know anything? Su Yun asked. I already know one or two. The great elder nodded his head. This item is indeed a divine item. I just used my profound energy to pry into its internal structure and discovered that it contains 9,999 hypnotic and illusory array formations. Furthermore, these array formations are not operating on their own, but are controlled by the artifact spirit. There is actually an artifact spirit living in this enlightenment will mirror. There's actually an artifact spirit here? Su Yun was a little surprised. It's precisely because of the artifact spirit that there's a time limit. The round demon said, If you don't return the treasure when the time comes, and instead take it for your own use, I'm afraid that the artifact spirit will activate its power to control you and return to the black skeleton. Hearing this, Su Yin suddenly remembered that the black skeleton seemed to have said that after the enlightenment will mirror was lost, it ran back on its own. What kind of existence is that black skeleton? Su Yin frowned. If my guess is correct, it should be the underworld gatekeeper. Underworld gatekeeper? Chapter 756. I'm just guessing. Didn't you say he was the gatekeeper? That was the river Styx, and he was the gatekeeper. If he wasn't the gatekeeper of the underworld, who else could he be? Furthermore, this underworld artifact has acknowledged him, and only the people of the underworld can use it. The round demon said, Maybe, but Great Clan Elder, now is not the time to talk about this. Demon Mountain is in a critical situation. We should hurry up and take action. Su Yin said, All right. The round demon nodded, then shouted, Someone come. 2 devil cultivators immediately rushed into the hall. Lock these 2 in prison and keep them under strict surveillance. Interrogate this person about the Supreme Sect. As for the three-bone dragon, when the sect master comes out, he will hand it over to the sect master. Yes, sir. The 2 devil cultivator nodded, then rushed over to bring the bald devil cultivator and the three-bone dragon down. Su Yun held on to the enlightenment will mirror. He planned to retrieve Chen Hong's soul and take stock of what he knew about the Supreme Sect. But at this moment, waves of shouts suddenly came from the door. Report. A devil cultivator dressed in shabby armor rushed in and knelt in front of Su Yun and the round demon. This person's entire body was covered in wounds, and his armor was stained with blood. It could be seen that he had just experienced a cruel battle. What happened? The round demon asked. Devil Cultivator's eyes were filled with sorrow. His expression was anxious. He knocked his head on the ground and said in a low voice, reporting to the great clan elder, Lord, Demon Mountain has been lost. What? The great clan elder's face changed. Suyun's heart also jumped a few times. He knew the importance of Demon Mountain. If Demon Mountain were to be lost, then it would mean that the defensive line that the true Devil Sect had set up at the Cross Realm Gate would all be in vain, and the people of Supreme Sect would already be able to enter the true Devil Realm without any obstructions. To the true Devil Sect that was not far from Demon Mountain, the current Supreme Sect was like a ferocious tiger that could devour them at any time. To the people of the Supreme Sect, the road in front of them was like a flat plain. In less than a month, the people of the Supreme Sect would rush into the true Devil Sect. Where's the Vice Sect leader? The round demon asked anxiously. The attack this time was actually commanded by the Holy Maiden of the Supreme Sect. When the Vice Sect Master and the Holy Maiden were fighting, they were ambushed by the 7 sons of Supreme One. Supreme God led the other 6 sons to besiege the Vice Sect Master, but the Vice Sect Master was outnumbered. He was seriously injured and on the verge of death. His body was almost destroyed. If not for the second elder and the others risking their lives to save him, I'm afraid that the Vice Sect leader would have died in the hands of the Supreme Sect. Speaking to this point, the Devil Cultivator actually cried bitterly. Suyun rarely saw the Devil Cultivator cry. However, there was one thing he knew, that Shi-Go's position in the hearts of the people of the true Devil Sect was irreplaceable. Not only the people of the true Devil Sect, even Suyun himself was the same. Thinking back to the bits and pieces of Octagon Aniseed, Suyun's heart surged with endless anger. Greater One Sect. It was the Supreme Sect again. His expression turned ferocious, and his eyes turned blood red. Where are they now? The round demon asked in a deep voice. The second clan elder is rushing towards the sect with the Vice Sect leader and the others, but the experts of the Supreme Sect are chasing after them relentlessly. The second clan elder has sent this subordinate to request the great clan elder to immediately invite the sect master out of seclusion and open the enchantment to stop the Supreme Sect from entering the sect. All right, I'll do it immediately, the round demon said solemnly. But just then, Suyun, who was at the side, suddenly stuffed the enlightenment will mirror into his hands and said, Great clan elder, go and arrange it. After using the enlightenment will mirror, you must return it to the underworld gatekeeper. With that, Suyun took out his death sword, stepped on it, and flew out of the house, quickly disappearing into the horizon. Lord Demon Lord, where are you going? The great clan elder shouted. But Suyun could no longer hear him. Suyun, who was flying on his sword, found the direction of Demon Mountain and quickly filled it up. According to what the Devil Cultivator said, the experts of the Supreme Sect were currently chasing after Octagon Aniseed and the others, and even Octagon Aniseed was injured, so it was likely that the condition of the true Devil Sect's team would not be any better. Both sides must have experienced a bloody battle, and from this, it could be seen that the situation on the Supreme Sect side was not too good either. This battle was not only for his parents, sister, and Huayro Muyu, but also for Chi-Chi. His speed was very fast, and in the vast sky, he could only see a black light that was even darker than the night sky flash past. In less than half an incense stick of time, Suyun saw the true Devil Sect's team flying quickly in the air. There were about 7,000 to 8,000 people. Other than the true Devil Sect, there were also a few people from the small sects. Almost all of them were injured. Losing their arms and legs was a very common thing. Everyone looked panicked as they anxiously fled, and the one who was surrounded by the crowd was Chi-Chi at this moment. Both of his arms were broken, and a hole had exploded in his abdomen. He had already fainted and was being controlled by the 2 devils and a few other elders as they ran forward. Seeing Suyun rushing over, the 2 devils and the rest all revealed looks of joy. Demon Lord, save us. All of you, quickly return to the sect and heal the Vice Sect leader. Leave this to me. Suyun bellowed. His eyes were like an eagle's as he stared forward. the profound chi around his body exploding. Just as he was about to explode, the profound strength in his body underwent a subtle change, and his internal organs strangely started to emit an indescribable, mysterious power. Breakthrough. At this critical juncture, the profound strength underwent a change. His strength instantly increased, and he actually broke through, stepping into the 8th stage of the Sky Spirit Master. The profound chi in his body was extremely restless, as though it could rush out of his body at any time. This was also good. Now is the time to use the profound strength. Su Yun passed by the remnants of the true devil sect and flew forward, only to see a large number of slender snow-white lines flying over from the horizon. Looking over, every line was an expert from the Supreme Sect. Their speed was not slow, and they were rushing towards the direction of the true devil sect. Su Yun raised his arm and pointed forward. The lightning on his arm shot up into the sky. The black clouds in the sky condensed. The atmosphere was extremely oppressive. A few pitch-black lightning bolts appeared in the clouds, and then landed on the vast earth. The lightning disappeared, and many devil-bone giantess that could support the heavens and earth appeared in front of Su Yun. They were like mountains, cutting the Supreme Sect people that were chasing after them in half. Devil Windbreak. Su Yun pulled out the death sword and swung it forward. The sword blade released tens of thousands of devil chi-s, transforming into a gale that blew forward, and when it got close to the person, it transformed into a devil tiger, pouncing forward to bite. Being blocked by Su Yun, the speed of the Supreme Sect people slowed down, but they did not stop, nor did they retreat. All of them fearlessly collided with Su Yun. Even if they were to withstand the attack of the devil tiger, they were still fearless. Corpses fell from the sky one by one, and flowers of blood bloomed in the snow-white beam of light. Kill this person and directly attack the true devil sect. If we can kill him, it will be of great benefit to our Supreme Sect. A cold shout came out from behind the crowd. Chirp! 7 sounds of breaking through the air came out. With Su Yun as the center, 7 figures appeared from 7 directions, followed by 7 snow-white swords, straight towards Su Yun's body. 1 person slashed. 1 person slashed. 1 person cut. 1 person stabbed. 1 person shaved. 1 person cut. 1 person exploded. 7 different attacks from 7 directions. The situation was extremely tense, and the aura attached to these 7 swords was the limitless profound chi that caused the expressions of all the people in the 10,000 worlds to change. Like wrapping dumplings, they surrounded Su Yun tightly, and the appearance of these 7 people was extremely sudden. Ordinary people would not be able to react in time. Suddenly appearing around him, these 7 people must have been hiding in the void, quietly approaching Su Yun, right? Facing such an attack, Su Yun did not defend at all. Instead, he raised one hand, grabbed the death sword, and threw it in all directions. The 7 people around him attacked without hesitation. However, the terrifying and dense, limitless, profound chi on the swords in their hands disappeared without a trace, like a stone sinking into the ocean. The 7 swords approached Su Yun and had already turned into 7 pure iron weapons, striking Su Yun's body without any pain or itch. The 7 of them raised their heads, their seemingly calm eyes revealing a trace of astonishment. However, in the next second, the pitch-black death sword fiercely slashed over. "Be careful," one of them shouted. The 7 of them hurriedly retreated. However, 2 of them were still a bit too slow. The death sword struck over and instantly beheaded them. The terrifying sword blade swept towards the 3rd person and cut a large hole in his chest. That person's internal organs could be seen clearly. Up to 4, up to 6, a person whispered. Su Yun then took out the tribulation fire and directly shattered the 3 souls and 7 spirits of the 2 corpses that overflowed from the corpses. This kind of ruthless method seemed to have angered the 5 of them. More than half of the profound strength of the 5 people had been absorbed by the Imperial battle robe, but they were still unwilling to retreat and continued to urge their chi to attack. Of course, they did not dare to get close to Su Yun, but scattered in 5 different directions, using the limitless profound qi to attack from afar. Su Yun stared at the person whose chest was cut open and stepped on his sword. His speed was extremely fast. That person was caught off guard and was closed in by Su Yun. With a slash, he was unable to block it, and his body was smashed into pieces. And no matter how strong these people's limitless profound qi were, hitting Su Yun was like hitting an iron fist on cotton. There was no reaction at all. Su Yun was still unharmed and did not even slow down his footsteps. Seeing this scene, these people finally understood. He seems to have a magic treasure on him that can offset the limitless profound qi. Impossible. The limitless profound qi was the supreme profound qi. It represented the source divine power of the supreme divine Tao. There was no existence in this world that could ignore the power of the supreme divine Tao. All of this is fake. One of them had an excited expression on his face. The scene in front of him had overturned their understanding and faith. His faith had been challenged, and he was no longer able to remain calm. 3. I firmly believe that the supreme divine Tao is the only divine way worth pursuing. We can definitely defeat this person in front of us. Yes, for the supreme divine Tao, for the supreme truth. Everyone go, kill this person, and defend the divine way. Kill. The remaining 4 people actually gave up on their long-range attacks and rushed over once again. However, it was not only the 4 of them. The main force of the Supreme Sect had also rushed over. The tens of thousands of Supreme Sect members that were like a tide were like locusts, covering the sky and surrounding Su Yun. Chapter 757. In the dignified and sacred martial imperial palace. The trouble that your true devil sect has caused is naturally for your true devil sect to settle by yourself. Do you still want to drag us into the water? You can go take care of the supreme sect yourselves. Shun Wu Huang, who was seated on the golden lion throne, shouted in a rough voice. But your highness, the martial emperor, your granddaughter is the holy maiden of the supreme sect. If you are willing to help and fight against the supreme sect with my true devil sect, the supreme sect will definitely be destroyed and your granddaughter will be saved. A devil cultivator wearing a black robe knelt on the ground and shouted anxiously. His expression was also incomparably excited. Right now, the true devil sect is in an urgent situation. If Lord Martial Emperor is still hesitating, I'm afraid that the true devil sect will not be able to hold on. Half of the people on both sides heard this. They all looked at Shun Wu Huang. In fact, in terms of favorable impression, everyone would probably prefer the true devil sect and reject the supreme sect. Looking at them from top to bottom, in their hearts, the supreme sect was a completely brainless lunatic sect. What does it have to do with this emperor? Shun Wu Huang waved his hand. Don't waste your breath. Come, send him back. Yes, sir. A tall and sturdy man walked over and grabbed the devil cultivator. Devil cultivator did not resist. He only shouted with all his might, but to no avail, and was directly carried out of the hall. But at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Palace. Father. A sorrowful sob came out. Everyone in the hall looked over. The person who came was Shun Xueshue. Seeing that, Shun Wu Huang frowned. Shun Xueshue had been under house arrest by Shun Wu Huang during this period of time, because he was afraid that his daughter would cause trouble again. As for Su Shintian, he was arranged by Shun Wu Huang. Shun Xueshue had not seen Su Shintian for a long time. Her heart was filled with thoughts and anxiety. When she thought about how she could not see her husband and children, her heart ached, and she was extremely miserable. Miss, please don't run around, miss. Just then, 2 maids ran into the hall anxiously. Seeing Shun Xueshue inside the hall, the 2 maids were so scared that their faces turned pale and immediately knelt on the ground. What's going on? Why did Miss come out? Shun Wu Huang asked with a calm face. Replying to your majesty, young Miss pretended to have a cultivation deviation and asked this servant to ask Mr. Qin Shui to treat her. Then secretly used an illusion to bewitch Xiao Rou. Only then did she run out. This servant is guilty, your majesty. Please punish me. The 2 maids wanted to cry, but had no tears. They knelt on the ground and trembled. Shen Wu Huang's face was extremely serious. Hearing that, his gaze landed on Shen Shui. Father, this has nothing to do with them. I was the one who wanted to come out. Dad, Luluo is your biological granddaughter. Now that she is trapped in the Supreme Sect, shouldn't we save her from the Sea of Fire? All these years, I don't know how much suffering Shin Tian and I have suffered, but we have thought of many ways to let Luluo escape from the sea of suffering. Even Master Yu Zai has suffered because of this. Father, please be merciful and save your granddaughter. As long as the Martial Imperial Palace is willing to help and cooperate with the true Devil Sect, the Supreme Sect will definitely be destroyed. Father. Shen Shueshua knelt on the ground and cried out sorrowfully. However, Shen Wu Huang was not moved. On the contrary, his face became even more gloomy. He slapped the armrest and roared in anger. For a wild girl, do you want me to use all the power of the Martial Imperial Palace to fight with the Supreme Sect? But she is your granddaughter after all. The blood of the Martial Imperial Palace flows in her body. So what? I, Shen Wu Huang, treat everyone equally. So what if she is my granddaughter? To me, the children of my Martial Imperial Palace are all my children. I will definitely not let my children bleed and sacrifice their lives because of her. So, stop talking, hurry up and leave. Father, step down. Shen Wu Huang's attitude was firm. His voice was filled with dignity and could not be refuted. In order to make Shen Shueshua submit, Shen Wu Huang even used a bit of tyrannical qi. This strand of qi mixed with his voice and entered Shen Shueshua's ears, causing her entire body to tremble, and no longer had any thoughts of disobedience in her heart. The two maids walked over, wanting to help Shen Shueshua, who was kneeling on the ground up. Shen Shueshua's eyes were absent-minded, and he allowed them to do as they pleased. She understood her father's temper. Since he had already made his decision, it would be useless for her to say anything else. But at this moment, a low laugh suddenly came from the door. The slightly silent great hall was made very strange by this laughter. Who dared to be so presumptuous here? Everyone in the Martial Imperial Palace looked towards the source of the laughter, only to see that it was coming from the true Devil Sect. What are you laughing at? The Martial Monarch bellowed. Nothing. The Devil Cultivator who was being supported shook his head and revealed a disdainful smile. I just feel that it's not worth it for our Devil Sect's Lord Demon Lord. Not worth it. Shen Wu Huang's face darkened. What do you mean by that? Doesn't Lord Martial Monarch know? Devil Cultivator sneered again and again. In order to save his sister, Lord Demon Lord had already fought with the Supreme Sect several times. In order to save his family, he did not hesitate to risk his life. He is only a big brother, and yet he is still like this. As for you grandfathers and mothers, you are hiding here and throwing all of your responsibilities to him. That's why I feel that it's not worth it for Lord Demon Lord. With that said, Shen Wu Huang's face became extremely ugly. Shen Shueshua's heart ached even more. Her lips turned pale white, and her body trembled slightly. How could she know that Su Yun had actually done so much for Su Luluo, sacrificing so much? All of this was beyond her expectations. She covered her lips as tears flowed out of her eyes. She wanted to cry, but she couldn't make a sound. You seem to be mistaken, Shen Wu Huang said solemnly. I, Shen Wu Huang, do not have this grandson. He has nothing to do with me. What does he do? What does it have to do with me? Father. Before Shen Wu Huang could finish his words, he was interrupted by Shen Shueshua's hoarse shout. Shen Shueshua suddenly broke free from the support of the two maids, placed one hand on his chest, and said with tears in his eyes, Father, if you are not willing to send people to help the true Devil Sect and are not willing to attack the Supreme Sect, then your daughter only wants to die in front of you. Nonsense. Shen Wu Huang was furious. He suddenly stood up from the golden lion chair. When he moved, the sky and earth changed color. The Martial Imperial Palace trembled, and a suffocating feeling floated in everyone's heart. You want to die. That's your problem. Your life is your life. Isn't the life of these children who follow me? Shen Wu Huang roared angrily, not moved by Shen Xuexue's words in the slightest. However, Shen Xuexue was also an impatient person, seeing that her father had already said such a thing, and thinking about how Su Xintian was nowhere to be found. Her daughter was in deep trouble, and her son was in extreme danger. The pressure almost made her unable to breathe, and she almost collapsed. She immediately clenched her teeth and was about to break her own soul and commit suicide. But in the next second, a person beside him suddenly made his move and opened Shen Xuexue's palm. Looking at it, the person who made his move was Shen Wu Huang's beloved disciple, and also Shen Xuexue's cousin, Xiao Guangli. Cousin, Snow, don't be willful. Master has his own plans. If you do this, it will only make Master sad. Make Luluo and the gods sad. Xiao Guangli said. He knew his cousin, and knew that she was stubborn and refused to admit defeat. Xiao Guangli stood out and cupped his fists toward Shen Wu Huang. Master, please calm your anger. Cousin did not mean to do this. As a mother, she just cares too much about her daughter. Humph. So what if she was a mother? I'm still a father and a master of this hall. Shen Wu Huang shouted in a dignified manner. Master is right, but then again, Master, this fight between the Supreme Sect and the True Devil Sect is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us. In the end, the Supreme Sect is a tumor of the myriad heavens. Even if it is not for Luluo, we should not just stand by and watch. All these years, the Supreme Sect has poisoned countless spirit cultivator, and even our martial imperial palace has many disciples who were bewitched and joined the Supreme Sect and died in their so-called Supreme Divine Tao. Therefore, Guangli believes that we should take this opportunity to eradicate the Supreme Sect, avenge our dead disciples, and the countless fellow Taoists in the myriad heavens. In this way, we can also bring glory to the martial imperial palace, and to our martial imperial palace, it is beneficial and not harmful at all. Xiao Guangli's attitude was sincere. His words were reasonable and well-founded, causing Shen Wu Huang's irritable anger to subside a little. As soon as these words came out, they immediately received the support of the other people from the martial imperial palace. He glanced at the crowd and asked, "What do you think?" We all agree with Senior Brother Zhao's suggestion. The disciples on the left and right all stood up and cupped their fists towards Shen Wu Huang. Hearing that, Shen Xuexue's face immediately revealed a look of joy. The devil cultivator's tensed face finally relaxed. He heaved a sigh of relief, and a smile finally appeared on his face. He knew that this trip had not been in vain. With the help of the martial imperial palace, the chances of them winning against the Supreme Sect this time was simply too high. Since all of you think so, that's good. Shen Wu Huang nodded his head. He was not in a hurry to reply, but instead looked at Shen Xuexue with a dignified gaze. You must stay in the house and not run around. If Father is willing to help, your daughter will definitely listen to Father's words obediently. Shen Xuexue immediately said. Humph. Shen Wu Huang shifted his gaze and said to Xiao Guangli, Go and summon the 5 elders over to discuss the matter of attacking the Supreme Sect. Yes, sir. Xiao Guangli turned and quickly walked out of the palace. Shen Wu Huang looked at the devil cultivator again and waved his hand. The martial imperial palace disciple, who was holding onto the devil cultivator, immediately released his hand. Devil cultivator hurriedly knelt down on one knee. Seeing that, Shen Wu Huang nodded his head in satisfaction and said sternly, Return to the true devil sect and tell your vice sect master. In the future, we will declare war on the Supreme Sect, but we will not join hands with the true devil sect, and will only declare war in the name of the Supreme Sect. I don't want to have anything to do with you, devil cultivator. Quickly go back and let your vice sect master hold on for a few more days. If your true devil sect is defeated before we even attack, then don't blame our martial imperial palace for standing by the side and watching. Hearing that, Devil Cultivator understood that Shen Wu Huang was not willing to face the Supreme Sect alone and immediately shouted, Yes, your majesty. Go back. I will take my leave. Devil Cultivator bowed, then turned and left the martial imperial palace in a hurry. The matter had been decided, and the martial imperial palace had already expressed their attitude. Then, all that was left was to see. Once they were cleared out, they would be pulled to the opposing side of the Supreme Sect. Then, without a doubt, the Supreme Sect would face the greatest crisis in history. Chapter 758. Whiz! A sword's shadow pierced through the sky, and the person in the sky was engulfed by the sword shadow. When the shadow dissipated, that person was like a kite with its string cut, falling from the sky. The Supreme Seven Sons of Supreme God had died tragically. The remaining Supreme God 1 and Supreme God 7 gripped their swords tightly. Although their expressions were calm, the anger in their eyes was hard to conceal. 5 of the 7 sons had been killed by Su Yun, but the 7 of them could not do anything to Su Yun. Up till now, they had not injured Su Yun in the slightest. Their faith had been severely challenged and attacked. That unparalleled, limitless, profound Qi, at this moment, was completely useless against this person. The Supreme Sect people that were rushing over were like wasps, revolving around Su Yun continuously. There were figures of people everywhere, and upon closer inspection, there were tens of thousands of people. Su Yun did not hold back at all, as if he had gone mad. He held on to the Tribulation Fire Sword and the Death Sword and rushed in all directions. The subordinate swords flew out and danced in the sky. There were sharp blades everywhere, and sword bodies were everywhere. He did not dodge or evade. All of his strength was focused on attacking. Wherever Su Yun passed, the limitless profound Qi would immediately disappear into thin air, and no one who got close to him would be able to survive. Blood dyed his robes red, as if he had been fished out of a pool of blood. Half of the sky was dyed red by the blood of the Supreme Sect people, and the ground was covered with corpses. This person seemed to have gone mad. Wherever his eyes passed, sharp swords would dance wildly. The devil-bone giants wantonly waved their fists around him. Even if their mountain-like fists could not kill people, they could still disperse their opponent's formation, preventing them from condensing into a formation. These tens of thousands of people were forcefully held back by this one person. However, this was not something that was very rare. One had to know that the world was vast, and there were many capable people. It was very common for a true expert to wipe out 10,000 living beings with a single strike. But such an expert was not common. Behind them, a dazzling golden carriage was slowly approaching. On both sides of the carriage stood beautiful and handsome Supreme Sect disciples. When they saw the chaotic battle, the carriage stopped, the curtain was lifted, and a young girl walked out. "Who is it?" the young girl whispered. Reporting to the Holy Maiden, "It is the new demon lord of the true devil sect." The person beside him bowed and replied, "New demon monarch? To be able to single-handedly restrain so many of us, such strength is truly amazing. It's a pity that such a person is not willing to pursue the supreme divine Tao. Otherwise, he would definitely have achieved something." The young girl said indifferently. She looked at Su Yun, who was in the crowd, and at the moment, he was like a tiger pouncing into a flock of sheep, wantonly killing. No matter how many Supreme Sect people there were around, no matter how strong they could not harm Su Yun in the slightest. On the other hand, Su Yun, who was close to the Supreme Sect people, would be able to kill them with one sword strike. The dense, limitless, profound Qi on their bodies was like an illusion, unable to protect their bodies at all. Seeing this, the girl's eyes narrowed, and a burst of golden light suddenly appeared in her pitch-black pupils. Several rows of runes quickly reorganized in the depths of her pupils, and then dissipated. Return to the sect and tell the sect master that the person who prophesied might have already appeared. Ask him to be on guard. When the people beside him heard this, they immediately turned and fled into the sky, returning to Supreme Sect. "Pass down my order. Have them all retreat. This child possesses a divine object. Your limitless profound Qi is not his match. Let me go punish him." "Yes, Holy Maiden." With that said, a shout resounded through the sky, and the Supreme Sect people who were surrounding Su Yun retreated like a tide. Su Yun, who was about to lose himself from the killing, heaved a sigh of relief and retreated. He panted as he floated in the air. both of his hands tightly gripping onto his sword. The thousands of swords around him were dyed red with blood, and the 7 devil-bone giant stood around him, looking like a god of death. "Human, why do you disobey the heavenly Tao?" The young lady stepped on the sky and walked over with lotus steps. The Supreme Sect people on both sides made way for her and bowed respectfully. Everyone had a pious expression on their faces. "Heavenly Tao? Are you talking about your Supreme Divine Tao?" Su Yin shook his head. "That kind of crooked path is not the so-called Heavenly Tao. The true Heavenly Tao should be hidden between the heaven and earth, within the laws of nature, and not the Tao that you all blindly and crazily chase after. This kind of Tao is simply not worthy of being called the Heavenly Tao. Despicable and ugly creatures. It must be exterminated." The people of Supreme Sect were all agitated. All of them looked at Su Yun with venomous eyes. Su Yun's words were like adding oil to the fire in their hearts. The Supreme Divine Tao could not be blasphemed. How could they tolerate others slandering them? The young girl gently raised her hand, and everyone stopped talking. All living beings in this world have been blinded by this filthy world. They do not know the truth and do not understand the great Tao. I will not blame you for this, because you need guidance. The young girl opened her cherry lips and said in a voice that was like an aureole, "Human, your talent is very good, and your obsession is also very strong. If you can abandon your current wrong path, return to the right path, and enter my Supreme Divine Tao, I believe that you will definitely be able to accomplish something and will definitely be able to pursue that supreme truth. Give up, come over, and follow us forward, and walk on the path of light." The young girl called out, her voice filled with piety and worship. When her voice came out, tens of thousands of Supreme Sect people raised their fists and shouted, "No Yang, no Yin, only my divine way. Human, everyone here will change their lives because of their correct decisions. They no longer need to bitterly search for karma and opportunities for cultivation bottlenecks, and no longer need to risk their lives for magic treasurettes. They will be the first existences in the entire universe to step onto the path of eternal life, and you are still sinking into your mistakes. Now, you have the chance to join us. Quickly put down your weapons, put down your stubbornness and killing intent, and return to the embrace of the Supreme Divine Tao." As the young lady spoke, she opened her arms towards Su Yun and made a hugging motion. Unknowingly, when her voice had become abnormally demonic. After Su Yun heard it, his heart inexplicably ignited with a strange feeling. This feeling was hard to describe, and its appearance caused his thoughts and spirit to undergo a subtle change. It was very strange. When the current Su Yun heard the girl's nonsense, he did not feel disgusted. He secretly bit the tip of his tongue, and the pain woke him up. Was this the power of the Supreme Divine Tao? He could not delay any longer. Muyu was still waiting for him to save her, and her sister was still trapped in the Supreme Sect. If she was bewitched by the other party, everything would be for naught. This thought made Su Yun even more impulsive than the girl's demonic words. Su Yun held onto his 2 swords, leaped backwards, and snapped his fingers. In that moment, the 7 devil-bone giants around him released a heaven-shaking roar and rushed towards the Supreme Sect people. When they got close, the 7 elephants fused together, transforming into devil-bone spirit, and suppressed them with a heaven-breaking stance. "Human, are you still stubborn?" The girl shook her head, raised her hand, and waved it lightly. A circle of pure white lotus-like imprints circled around her body, and then quickly spun towards the devil-bone spirit. Bang! The devil-bone spirit's huge fist collided with the imprint, causing a huge wave of chi to burst out. Su Yun moved his finger again, and a gigantic sword fell from the sky, smashing into the crowd of Supreme Sect people. Sky-cleaving dragon sword slash. This dragon sword slash, which contained the thick cultivation of a 7th-stage Sky Spirit Master cultivator, was no longer as weak and powerless as it was when he was dealing with the Spirit Demon Emperor. At this moment, there was actually a chi dragon coiling around the surface of a gigantic sword, and the sword edge glowed with a red light, which was especially terrifying. However, the people of Supreme Sect were not ordinary people. The limitless profound chi finally erupted with its power, and when the dragon's sword slashed down, it was shattered by the profound chi. Suyin took out the demon lord's bone mask and wore it on his face. A terrifying and cold aura began to spread out. He threw the sword sheath into the sky, and all the subordinate swords flew out like the muzzle of a machine gun, rushing towards the Supreme Sect people. As for himself, without hesitation, he let go of the tribulation fire and changed into the Lotus Star Sword. Together with the Death Sword, one black and one white, he charged into the crowd. Facing Su Yun's attack once again, the Supreme Sect side seemed to be in a mess, but there was no need to doubt that no one would be afraid of Su Yun. These people who were extremely infatuated with the Supreme Divine Tao had long forgotten what death was. Phoenix dance in the sky, sword demon flow heart, sword devouring earth, sword fusion sun and moon. Su Yun attacked crazily. The sword danced with flames, burning the surrounding crowd, and a large number of corpses fell to the ground once again. However, it was unable to intimidate these people. They still attacked Su Yun tirelessly. Nimble external yang. Right at this moment, a clear and melodious shout erupted. Crack! In that moment, Su Yun felt that his surroundings had suddenly disappeared. Darkness surrounded him, and he could not see anything. This is bad. Pure mental attack. Su Yun cursed inwardly and immediately pushed his own god power and profound strength to the maximum. The Imperial Battle Robe had fused with the Clear Sky Holy Robe and the 7th tier Imperial equipment. Before the god power and profound strength were exhausted, Su Yun was practically invincible. However, the god power could cancel out the profound chi, and the profound strength could cancel out the brute force. But this mental attack could not be eliminated. This was also the only flaw of the Imperial Battle Robe. The reason why Su Yun called this battle robe a pseudo-invincible battle robe was because it was unable to offset mental damage. However, there was a weapon that could be used as a defensive weapon, especially against mental strength. It had a very good defensive effect. Break! Su Yun bellowed, and the snow-white sword in his hand that was like a lotus gently waved. The darkness was broken, and his vision was restored. Lotus Star Sword Art. He recovered and looked at the young girl at the back of the crowd. Knowing that he had to capture the leader first, he immediately raised his sword and rushed forward. The young girl knew that she could not fight him head-on, so she immediately retreated. Her fingers moved again, and a large amount of terrifying spirit power shot out from her fingertips, attacking Su Yun. Break! 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 Su Yun danced wildly with the Lotus Star Sword. However, as he danced, he felt his spirit become sluggish, and the profound chi could not keep up. Is my emotion consuming my profound strength? Su Yun snorted. He suddenly stopped chasing after the young lady, leaped backwards, and landed on the ground below. He released the 2 swords in his hands, closed his eyes, and activated all the power in his body like 10,000 horses galloping forward. The earth trembled and began to clamor. All living beings responded. One by one, the chi swords flew out from the rocks, sort of all spirits. Chapter 759. The chi swords soared into the sky, occupying the entire sky. Following Su Yun's command, the 10,000 swords crashed into the crowd and started to randomly shoot out. The densely packed chi swords were like restless hornets, flying through the crowd. The people of Supreme Sect were not weak either. They all activated their limitless profound chi to protect their bodies. Many of the chi swords were unable to break through the extremely terrifying limitless profound chi, and some of the people who had cultivated the limitless profound chi to a high level actually absorbed all of the sword chi into their bodies for their own use. Su Yun was not afraid of pure, profound chi attacks, and the people of Supreme Sect were not afraid either. The reason why the limitless profound chi was known as the strongest profound chi and was able to allow the Supreme Sect to stand tall in the myriad heavens realm without falling naturally had its own reasons. If the ordinary profound chi touched the limitless profound chi, it would be completely devoured, leaving nothing behind. This was also one of the reasons why many people were afraid of the people of Supreme Sect. The chi sword was devoured, and all the stones on the ground withered. However, Su Yun did not plan to use this all-spirits sword to kill his opponent. His goal was only to force all of the Supreme Sect people into a corner and restrain them. The people of Supreme Sect stayed where they were and used the limitless profound chi to deal with the chi sword, giving Su Yun a chance. Very good. Su Yun's eyes shot out a terrifying killing intent. Disperse. The young lady in the distance sensed Su Yun's intentions and immediately shouted. But it was too late. Su Yun, who had already reached perfection in the divine wind sword technique, had already reached a realm where it was hard to detect. His figure was still there, but his physical body had already rushed into the crowd of Supreme Sect. In that moment, the profound strength in the crowd was suddenly sucked dry. A vacuum zone without any limitless profound chi appeared in the crowd. Following that, a large number of sword images swirled about, blooming with blood that was as red as a rose. It was especially dazzling. Seeing this scene, the young girl's eyebrows tightly knitted together. Su Yun held the divine object, and facing so many people, it could be said that he turned a blind eye to them. It was as if there was no one around, and there was no way to do anything to him. Now that the vice sect master of the True Devil Sect was injured, the True Devil Sect was in chaos. This was the best time to take care of the True Devil Sect, and it was useless to continue wasting time with this person. Thinking of this, the young girl's snow-white palm gently flipped, and a jade-colored rui appeared in her palm. This rui was sparkling and translucent, beautiful and magnificent. Its surface was wrapped in a grayish-white, limitless, profound chi, like an immortal artifact. She extended her finger and pointed at the rui, then threw it towards Su Yun. The rui was like a living thing, flying towards Su Yun, who was in the crowd, and started to vibrate at high speed. Seeing this, Su Yun immediately activated the divine power of the Imperial Battle Robe to prevent himself from being tricked by the young lady again. The rui violently trembled for a few breaths of time, but unexpectedly exploded. It burst into countless small fragments, flying into the sky, like a sky full of stars floating in the sky, and the following scene caused Su Yun to be extremely surprised. The fragments of the rui scepter started to spin, overflowing with a bright light. However, it did not attack Su Yun, but instead attacked the Supreme Sect disciple below. Every fragment of the rui scepter released a terrifying suction force, and the limitless profound chi of these Supreme Sect people were all sucked dry by the rui scepter fragment in an instant. In an instant, a large number of Supreme Sect people lost consciousness and directly fell from the sky. Only a few people were lucky enough to survive. Towards this scene, Su Yun was not surprised. In the eyes of the Supreme Sect people, the lives of their fellow sect members were the most worthless. However, such an aggrieved way of dying was also the cruelest. Human, the young lady stared at Su Yun, her hands quickly waving, controlling the rui scepter fragments. You rejected the divine way. You will regret your choice today, and you will also receive the punishment you deserve. But the reason why we came here today is not to punish you, but to punish the sinful True Devil Sect, so you can sleep here. With that, the young girl waved her hand downwards. The rui scepters that were like stars in the sky started to move in an instant. They rotated and turned into a large circle, enveloping Su Yun and surrounding him. Just as Su Yun was about to move, he saw the world spinning, the world changing, and very quickly, he fell into an endless darkness, unable to extricate himself. It was another mental attack. Furthermore, it was even more intense than before. Su Yun clenched his teeth and immediately pulled out the Lotus Star Sword, urging his chi to break it. However, the mental attack this time was not as easy to break as before. The Lotus Star Sword had activated a few swords in a row, but was still unable to shake it. Looking from the outside, Su Yun was floating in the middle of the rui great array, being suppressed by the array. Seeing that, a few Supreme Sect people planned to kill Su Yun, but were stopped by the young lady. He has the protection of the magic treasure. You guys can't hurt him. Don't worry about this person. Let's quickly head to the True Devil sect and punish Octagon Aniseed and the others first. When my Supreme Sect's holy army arrives, we will get rid of all these filthy people. The young girl said indifferently. Yes, sir. Everyone cheered devoutly. Following that, under the lead of the young lady, the remaining Supreme Sect people headed towards the True Devil sect. Su Yun, who was trapped by the Rui array, was still in the darkness, unable to escape. This spiritual force was simply too strong. This was a Rui array that the young lady had constructed by relying on her own powerful spiritual force. Su Yun's cultivation was not as good as hers. To forcefully break through was simply a fantasy. Break! 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 Su Yun held onto the Lotus Star sword and used the Lotus Star sword art again and again. The darkness trembled, a crack appeared, and a sudden white light shot in, illuminating the darkness. But it was all in vain. Su Yun's profound strength could not allow him to use the Lotus Star sword art limitlessly. If this continued, he would probably fall to the ground before the formation was broken. Qingyu! Su Yun stopped the Lotus Star sword art and called out to the sword sheath. However, she did not receive a reply from Ling Qingyu. It seemed like she was cultivating. Since that was the case, he could only rely on himself. Su Yun took a deep breath, and with the help of the weak light that seeped in from the crack, he sized up his pitch-black surroundings. This place seemed to be a sealed secret room, but it was very big. There was a distance of nearly 10,000 meters between him, and his current location was the central area. The crack was caused by the shattering of the void, which meant that everything around him was fake and did not exist. However, even though they were fake, they could still be used on Su Yun's body. It could be seen that this was a spiritual array. Since it was a formation, there must be a formation core. If one could find a formation core, the formation would break on its own. Spirit arrays usually use the 3 souls and 7 spirits as the foundation, and use the essence of the sun and moon as the guide to construct a huge spiritual world. This world was not big, but it was extremely sturdy. Furthermore, with the Rui as the skeleton, it was difficult to break it easily. Su Yun walked around, but did not find anything strange. It was completely the same in all directions, and there was nothing special about it. From the looks of it, to break this formation, one could only follow the method recorded in the books, using the most primitive diagram of the profound strength of the soul and the diagram of the origin energy to break it. The origin energy was the most primitive power that came from a person's 3 souls and 7 spirits. It was the most powerful power that was hidden in the deepest parts of a person. A person's strength was sometimes strong and sometimes weak. If one's mental state was not good, the power they could unleash would not be good either. If one's mental state was full, the power they could unleash would also be unexpected. However, the profound strength of the soul was different from the source energy. Compared to the source energy, the soul was only a relatively low-level profound strength. Just like the profound strength of the body, it also allowed the soul to possess a portion of the profound strength. However, there were very few people who cultivated the profound strength of the soul, because no matter who it was, no matter how much they cultivated, they could only contain that little bit of profound strength. If the body was destroyed, the soul would still be extremely weak. Therefore, other than those who specialized in spirit arrays or profound technique S, no one else would cultivate this soul power. Without a doubt, the young girl had cultivated soul power. Furthermore, her soul power was many times stronger than an ordinary person's. Su Yun looked around, closed his eyes, and started to think. This place was square, so there was no way to start. Furthermore, the shape of a human's body was not square. So how could he find a location? Suddenly, Su Yun thought of something. He suddenly raised his arm and took out a devil bone giant. When the devil bone giant appeared, he immediately urged the giant to lie horizontally in this square space. The position of the space was just right. After the devil bone giant lay down, its head and feet just happened to touch the 2 ends. He closed his eyes and thought. According to the diagram of the origin energy, the center should be a point to the left of the abdomen. This place was where all the energy gathered and also where the origin energy was distributed. Other than that, it was the center of the soul power. Su Yun urged the devil bone giant to lie vertically and then carefully compared it to find a position. When he used the giant as a model, he found a center point according to the diagram of the origin energy and the soul power flow diagram. Then, Su Yun kept the devil bone giant and confirmed his position. After estimating the location, Su Yun took out the Lotus Star sword again and attacked the estimated location. The aimless bombardment used the entire Spirit Seal array, and now that he was attacking the place that might be the core of the formation, it would be much easier. The real formation aperture would definitely not be able to withstand more than 3 strikes. If it was not broken after more than 3 strikes, it meant that Su Yun's calculations were wrong. Although the Imperial Battle Robe could protect people from death, their divine power was limited. Su Yun was not sure what was going on outside, but he knew that the situation outside was definitely not optimistic. He had to get out quickly. Break! Bang! A lotus seal flew out from the snow-white sword and smashed into the dark void. With a dong sound, the entire space began to tremble. Break! Break! Su Yun consecutively unleashed 2 moves of the Lotus Star Sword art, and when he unleashed these 2 moves, he once again appeared to be in a state of dizziness. But what made him even more excited was that there was finally something strange happening in the air. The darkness was shattered, and a gigantic snow-white button appeared in Su Yun's line of sight. When the hole appeared, countless cracks appeared in the entire dark space, and the cracks spread out like spider webs, quickly spreading throughout the entire space. Crack! The dark space shattered. Chapter 760. A blood-red ray of light entered his eyes. Finally, he saw the light of day again. Su Yun tried his best to exhale and quickly stuffed a pill into his mouth. He shook his head and checked his own soul and mental state. It was not bad, but the consumption of his profound strength was a little too much. He had activated the Lotus Star Sword art countless times in a row. This sword art was originally released through thought. The demand for the profound chi was extremely huge, and the demand for the spirit was also very harsh. If Su Yun had not broken through to the 8th stage of cultivation at the last moment, he would have already fainted from the exhaustion of the profound chi. Wait. Su Yun suddenly felt that something was wrong. He raised his head and looked around. The young girl and the others had already disappeared. The Rui formation that she had set up was also shattered, and the broken Rui fell to the ground, scattering onto the bodies of the dead Supreme Sect people. There was no one around? Did those guys leave? No. Slowly, right in front of him, was an innumerable number of figures. Those were the Supreme Sect people who covered the sky. At a glance, it seemed as if half of the sky was filled with them. They stepped on the thick white clouds and slowly moved towards this direction, the heavy, limitless, profound chi pressing down like a mountain. This was the follow-up army of the Supreme Sect. With the Demon Mountain taken over, the teleportation bridge that was constructed actually helped the Supreme Sect. They could directly bypass the defensive line set up by the True Devil Sect and the other great powers, and directly attack the True Devil Sect from the Demon Mountain. More than half of the team led by the young lady had been killed by Su Yun, so it was obvious that it was not enough to chase after Octagon Aniseed. He immediately sent a message to the Supreme Sect, and the following 500,000 people immediately came over. These teams slowly flew over. The clouds were dispersed by them, the wind was blocked by them, and even the small amount of light in the True Devil realm was blocked by them. The terrifying aura made it hard for people to breathe. As they approached Su Yun, the huge group stopped. That pair of fanatical eyes swept towards Su Yun. It was a very strange look. There was no killing intent, no disgust, only indifference and a trace of compassion in his eyes. Su Yun took a deep breath, took off the Demon Lord badge from his waist, and instilled devil chi into it, contacting the True Devil Sect. Very quickly, there was a reaction, but the one who answered him was not Octagon Aniseed, but the great clan elder. Is it Lord Devil King? Are you all right? Where are you now? What's the situation outside? My situation here is quite bad, but it doesn't matter. I want to ask about the sex situation. Suyin could not help but laugh bitterly. The sex situation is relatively better. Supreme Sect's Holy Maiden Su Luluo led a portion of the remaining Supreme Sect people in an attempt to kill the Vice Sect Master, but they are blocked by us outside the mountain gate. The second clan elder has already gone to the cultivation grounds to ask the Sect Master to come out and maintain the situation, and the True Devil Sect's army at the defensive line is returning to help. Wait, what did you say? Holy Maiden Su Luluo? Su Yun's face revealed a look of surprise. What Holy Maiden Su Luluo? Could it be? If my guess is not wrong, it is indeed the Su Luluo that you want to save, Lord Demon Lord. The round demon said solemnly. Hearing that, Su Yun's mind immediately spun. Suddenly, he thought of the girl from before. Could it be that the young lady was the little sister that he had never met before? Su Luluo? Lord Demon Lord, please come back quickly. I have received news that all of the Supreme Sect's troops have been mobilized and are heading towards the True Devil Sect through the Demon Mountains teleportation bridge. It is too dangerous outside. The round demon's voice sounded again. Su Yun took a deep breath and said softly, since my sister has already left the Supreme Sect, then everything will be easy. Elder Yuanimo, I will leave the True Devil Sect to you. I want to go and retrieve something. With that, without waiting for the round demon to reply, Su Yun kept the order badge and hung it back on his waist. He caressed the demon lord's bone mask on his face and looked at the hundreds of thousands of people in front of him. In front of these Supreme Sect people was a handsome man dressed in a snow-white robe with a golden lion pattern tattooed on his body. The man stared at Su Yun. Without saying a word, he pulled out a crystal sword from his waist and pointed the sword tip at Su Yun. Punishment. In that moment, the hundreds of thousands of Supreme Sect people behind him rushed towards Su Yun like a tide. The tyrannical, limitless, profound qi caused the air to tremble like waves. Killing intent surged. He didn't even say a single word of nonsense. Su Yun did not panic. He took out the death sword and threw it into the air. With a leap, he stepped on the death sword's body and rushed forward, colliding head-on. With the protection of the god power, any profound strength that approached him would disappear without a trace. And when the Supreme Sect people approached him, they would also be devoured by the god power around him. Su Yun was like an unstoppable bull, sweeping through everything in his way, forcefully passing through the hundreds of thousands of Supreme Sect people, and then rushed straight towards the direction of Demon Mountain, not even bothering to look back, completely ignoring these people. When a handsome man in the snow-white robe saw this, his face darkened. The third and fourth teams will go and capture them. The rest will follow me to the True Devil Sect. Yes, sir. Purple Moon, Immortal Island. Shangguan Mei Yang and Sun Xianyin stood in front of a sealed cave. The cave was connected to a tall mountain. The mountain was surrounded by immortal qi, and the mountain was covered with tens of thousands of sky blue talisman paper. The powerful talisman power rippled in the air. The people outside the immortal island looked at the immortal mountain from afar, and all of them revealed looks of amazement. The kingdom of Ziyu was created on this immortal mountain. The immortal mountain was used by the previous emperor to cultivate, and was originally a cultivation cave of an ancient supreme expert. Later on, it was owned by my kingdom of Ziyu. The immortal mountain is divided into 9 levels, the lower 3 levels, the middle 3 levels, and the upper 3 levels. Only the imperial family of the kingdom of Ziyu can enter the immortal mountain, but throughout history, only the previous emperor has reached the 4th level of the immortal mountain. The others have been wandering around below, and from the 4th level and above, no one has ever stepped into it. Today, I made an exception and allowed Qinger to enter the immortal mountain to cultivate. I believe that with her special divine body, she will definitely have some gains in the immortal mountain. Sun Xiangyin looked at the immortal mountain in front of her and said with a smile, "If that's the case, I must thank senior sister for your nurturing." Shangguan Mei Yang smiled slightly. "Haha, silly junior sister. She is your disciple, and I am your senior sister. Is there a need for us to be so courteous?" Sun Xiangyin laughed out loud. Shangguan Mei Yang's heart warmed, and she did not say another word. "Princess, At this time, a man wearing tight black clothes quietly appeared beside Sun Xiangyan. He knelt down on one knee and whispered. Sun Xiangyan's face immediately turned serious. Something happened in the palace? Not yet. It's about the true devil sect and supreme sect. The black-clothed man said in a deep voice. According to the spy's report, a few days ago, the 700,000 members of the supreme sect had already crossed the border from Demon Mountain and entered the true devil realm, heading straight for the true devil sect. What? Sun Xiangyan's face revealed a look of shock. Demon Mountain? When did Demon Mountain have a bridge? Could it be that the people of Supreme Sect had built a bridge at Demon Mountain? But Demon Mountain was not far from the True Devil Sect. Were the people of the True Devil Sect idiots? They can't sense it. This teleportation bridge was built by the people of the Devil Sect. The people of the Devil Sect secretly built this bridge with the intention of blocking the Supreme Sect's path of retreat. However, the three-bone dragon of the True Devil Sect betrayed the True Devil Sect, causing the Supreme Sect to launch a surprise attack on Demon Mountain. So it's like that. Sun Xiangyan started to think. Right now, all the great devil cultivator-s in the True Devil realm are ready to make a move. If this subordinate is not wrong, they will definitely take advantage of the Supreme Sect's attack on the True Devil Sect to cause trouble. Once something happens to the True Devil Sect, the True Devil realm will lose all order, and at that time, there will be no rules to restrain those ferocious demons. The black-clothed man said in a deep voice, What are you afraid of? Could it be that they would still choose to cause a palace change at this time? Even if they had the guts, they wouldn't dare to act recklessly. Sun Xiangyan coldly snorted. Princess is right, but should we move as well? What do you think? There is a conflict between the Supreme Sect and the True Devil Sect, but looking at the current situation, I am afraid that the True Devil Sect will not be able to hold on for long. This subordinate believes that at this time, we should stand on the side of the Supreme Sect and help the Supreme Sect destroy the True Devil Sect. When the Supreme Sect takes down the True Devil Sect, we can borrow the power of the Supreme Sect to do our own things. Your idea is too naive. Sun Xiangyan immediately rejected. Not only is it naive, it's also very childish. I don't think you understand the Supreme Sect at all. The black-clothed man raised his head slightly, but did not make a sound. What kind of sect is the Supreme Sect? All the heavens know that cooperating with them is equivalent to asking a tiger for its skin. It would be strange if we weren't eaten by them, and they would still help us. You're thinking too much. What does the princess plan to do? About this, Sun Xiangyan rubbed her chin, thought for a while, and said, The real devil sect cannot be saved. The people of the Supreme Sect have already charged into the True Devil realm. They will definitely not be able to hold on for long. The Supreme Sect cannot help, but the real devil sect cannot help either. We cannot get involved in this muddy water. Let's wait and see. The man in black paused for a moment, cupped his fists, and left. After the black-clothed man left, Sun Xiangyan sat down on a stone bench and sighed, her face full of worry. Senior sister, what's wrong? So worried, so worried, Sun Xiangyan said bitterly. Is it because of the matter between the Supreme Sect and the real Devil Sect? How the two of them fight has nothing to do with me. I'm just worried about those fellows in the palace. If I don't get involved in this mess, they might not. Once they provoke these two families, it won't be a good thing for me. Sigh, Sun Xiangyan sighed bitterly. Hearing that, Shangwan Mei Yang understood the logic behind it. The power of the kingdom of Ziyu was beyond her imagination. However, the stronger the power, the more unimaginable the trouble. At least for now, Sun Xiangyan was forced into the open and hidden struggles of the successors of the kingdom of Ziyu. Chapter 761. Supreme Realm Gate. Crash. Su Yun came down from the teleportation bridge and immediately rushed towards the gate of the Supreme Realm with his sword in hand. Under the flickering starry sky, Su Yun stepped on his sword and flew crazily, quickly arriving in front of the door. There were still thousands of disciples guarding the door, because the current situation was very special. Amongst these disciples, there were still 5 Spirit Emperor-s, perhaps to prevent the True Devil Sect or other enemies from launching a surprise attack on the Supreme Sect. Seeing Su Yun's arrival, the people of Supreme Sect were on high alert. They took out their weapons, activated the limitless profound chi, and directly surrounded Su Yun. "It's the dirty devil cultivator. Sanction." Two low cries came out. Thousands of Supreme Sect people surrounded them like locusts. Su Yun secretly snorted. He did not retaliate, but raised the death sword and smashed towards the door of the Supreme Realm. He did not have much profound strength at the moment, so he could not waste it here. Relying on the divine power of the Imperial Battle Robe, Su Yun was still unobstructed. Even the few Spirit Emperors could not stop him. They did not understand the attributes of the battle robe on Su Yun's body, and even more so, did not know how to use the profound technique to restrain him. With a loud bang, the gigantic Supreme Gate was directly smashed open by Su Yun. A dazzling golden light enveloped his body, making it difficult for him to open his eyes. Then, strange music drifted into his ears. This music was especially strange. It sounded like a lover's whisper, but also like a parent's reproach. It made one's heart palpitate, but it also calmed one's heart. The strange feeling was simply indescribable. When the golden light disappeared, Su Yun opened his eyes and looked at everything in front of him. However, with just a glance, it had left an indelible impression on him. In front of him was a dazzling world. What was gold and jade splendor? This was because the entire world was golden. In front of his eyes floated a large number of boundless golden platforms. The large ones were boundless like a continent, and the small ones were like towns. These golden platforms danced in the air. It was unknown how many of these floating platforms there were in the world. Perhaps they could be compared to the stars in the night sky. And in between the floating platforms, there were incomparably huge, world-shaking jade statues. They were so deep that they couldn't see the bottom, and they couldn't see the top. It was like a pillar supporting the sky, standing tall in this strange world. When Su Yun appeared in the miraculous Supreme Realm, almost in an instant, the gazes from the floating platforms directly shot towards him. For example, Su Yun's sudden appearance was like a green leaf falling onto the pure white snow. It was extremely abrupt. He did not belong to this world. He could sense it, and the Supreme Sect people on the floating platform could also sense it. On the floating platform, the people from Supreme Sect all stood up, and all of them flew towards Su Yun without any strong hostility, nor did they reject him. They only surrounded Su Yun. They were all dressed in white robes with golden patterns. At a glance, there were probably millions of them. However, this did not represent all of the Supreme Sect's people. Su Yun's face congealed, holding onto the death sword tightly. He coldly looked at everyone around him. Demon Dweller? At this moment, a very friendly voice emerged from the crowd in the distance. But suddenly, there was a commotion in the endless crowd. Following that, a golden-haired and golden-eyed middle-aged man flew out from the crowd and slowly approached Su Yun. He looked extremely amiable, holding a leather book in his hand. His face was filled with a friendly smile, and not a single trace of hostility could be found from his entire body. "Who are you?" "Who I am is not important. The important thing is that you need to know who you are." The middle-aged man smiled and said, "Do you know who you are?" "I am Su Yun." "No, that's just a code name of yours." The middle-aged man immediately shook his head. A person can have many code names, and even many identities. However, which one of them can represent you? All of this is fake. What is true and what is false is just what people say. No one can tell what is true and what is false. Can you be sure that what you said is true? I can't, but the Almighty Sect leader can. The Supreme Great Tao will guide me to the true path. Hearing that, Su Yun kept quiet. He knew that no matter how much he said, it would be useless. The middle-aged man smiled and continued. "You still haven't recognized yourself. Do you know that?" Su Yun still did not say anything. He felt that this person's words were a little strange. He suddenly came here, but he didn't ask him what he was doing. Instead, he told him this. "Then, I want to ask you a question." The middle-aged man squinted his eyes and laughed. "Do you want to recognize yourself?" For some reason, his words had a very strange, demonic nature, and it was a kind of demonic nature that people did not dislike at all. He clearly knew that his words were only meant to bewitch others, but he could not resist them. Lost lamb, your birth represents your misfortune, but you are also lucky because in your limited life, you came here to the supreme sect, to the only place that can guide you on the right path. Now, let go of the obsession in your heart. Let go of the desire in your heart that can never be satisfied, and throw yourself into the embrace of the supreme sect and pursue the supreme divine Tao with us. As the middle-aged man spoke, he began to shout loudly. The demonic nature in his voice became stronger and stronger. At the same time, countless supreme sect people from all directions were holding hands and surrounding Su Yun, chanting some incantation loudly. It seemed to be singing happily, and that voice was filled with demonic nature. Su Yun felt that in that instant, his soul had suffered an unprecedented attack and was on the verge of destruction. He clenched his teeth, and his blood-red eyes gradually regained their clarity. However, he did not dare to let go of this obsession, and did not dare to let his boiling blood cool down. Once it calmed down, everything would be over. Are you the supreme sect leader? Su Yun held onto the death sword tightly and growled like a ferocious beast. You have lost your way. Are you still persistent? The middle-aged man did not answer him and continued to call out. So you're not? The corner of his mouth suddenly raised into a sinister smile. He suddenly raised his head and stared at the middle-aged man in front of him. The man opened the book in his hand, as if he was planning to carry out the next step of the bewitchment. However, Su Yun did not plan to give them any more chances. He raised the death sword and slowly raised it, the sword blade pointing straight ahead. The strange, pitch-black sword body was especially eye-catching in this resplendent world. Wong. Suddenly, the death sword trembled. A sore hum sounded out, which was especially ear-piercing. And in that instant, a berserk power instantly shot out from within the death sword, spreading far, far away, like ripples on the surface of a lake. When this power appeared, the middle-aged man's kind face suddenly changed and was replaced with endless fear and malevolence. Human, are you still not willing to give up? Are you still going to be stubborn? Destroy him. Destroy him. The middle-aged man held onto the book and shouted at the top of his lungs. He had already sensed the terrifying killing intent released from the sword in Su Yun's hand. The killing intent was like a sharp steel needle, piercing into his heart, causing him to no longer be able to maintain his hypocritical kindness. Hypocritical kindness, and the most essential attitude exploded out in this extreme fear and panic. As the middle-aged man shouted at the top of his lungs, all the supreme sect people in all directions began to move. They only had Su Yun in their eyes. His eyes were filled with endless disgust, hatred, and killing intent that could not be dispersed. The middle-aged man's words immediately changed the attitude of the supreme sect people towards Su Yun. They were like machines. With just one sentence, they could immediately change their actions. And with regards to the orders of the higher-ups of the supreme sect, these people would listen to everything. Even if they were to die, they would not hesitate to carry out. Su Yun could already feel the profound, limitless, profound qi around him. These profound qi shook the void, shook people's souls, and seemed to be able to make saints tremble and make ghosts and gods cry. Under such a terrifying attack, anyone would completely lose all will to fight. This power simply surpassed that of a god, surpassed that of the heavens. Nothing in the world could compare to it. No one could contend against it. Su Yun understood that after this attack, everything would vanish like smoke into thin air. Everything would be completely rewritten. Regardless of whether he lived or died, won or lost, the order of the 10,000 realms would be broken. And there was only one person who could break this order. That was himself. I am not a savior, nor am I a destroyer. I did all of this for the sake of what I insisted on in my heart. The kindness of this world needs someone to protect it, but it's not me. The ugliness of this world needs someone to expose it, but it won't be me. The contest between man and the heavens had never stopped, because man's desires were often greater than the heavens and wider than the earth. Then, did heaven-defying people really exist? Would the person who shakes the earth really be allowed? I don't know what you're chasing after, but I know that what I need to protect is my supreme Tao. If anyone dares to harm the Tao I want to protect, I will do everything in my power to kill them. Even if I fall into eternal darkness, I will never give up. Suyin roared in a low voice. His eyes were almost blood red. His entire body released a powerful devil chi and evil chi. The death sword in his hand released a sword cry that caused the gods and demons to tremble. The fiendish aura was like a surging wave, engulfing the entire supreme realm. Roar! Ruthless roar! The roar of the wind, the roar of the sword, the roar of a human, the roar of an unyielding soul. The death sword trembled so much that it seemed like it could no longer hold on to it. But he refused to give up, because he understood that only by holding onto the sword would he be able to protect the Tao in his heart. He suddenly raised his head and looked at the crowd in front of him. Without the slightest bit of pity, he swung the sword in his hand down. In that instant, the magnificent supreme sect was replaced by darkness. Endless sword wind filled the entire world. Boom! Boom! Roar! Everyone's eardrums ruptured in an instant. 3 souls and 7 spirits were about to leave his body. Countless cracks appeared on his body. This was an explosion that resounded throughout the ages and resounded through the world. This voice would continue throughout the entire supreme sect and would never disappear again. The entire supreme realm seemed to have been fiercely smashed by an ancient god with an axe that split the heavens and earth. The golden floating platform that was floating in the sword world turned into dust, the statue shattered, and the heaven and earth cracked. And the million supreme sect people that surrounded Su Yun were like the scattered clouds. All of them disappeared. Chapter 762. Inside the quiet wooden hut, Sword Ancestor, who was sitting cross-legged in the array, seal, suddenly opened his eyes and stood up. "Master, what's wrong?" The servant boy, who was standing quietly at the side, anxiously called out, thinking that something had happened while Sword Ancestor was cultivating. "I didn't expect that you would still use it in the end. It's just that with this sword strike, too many living beings have perished." Sword Ancestor's eyes were somewhat absent-minded as he muttered softly. The attendant became more and more confused as he watched. "Soul Pearl. Master, the Soul Pearl is here." The attendant beside him replied. "Go. Immediately inform the Realm Master, and have the people of the Wanhua realm quickly gather at the Realm Tree. Tell the Realm Master, I have something to tell them." Sword Ancestor said. His expression was extremely serious. Hearing this, the attendant nodded and hurriedly ran off. At the same time, the true Devil Realm was not peaceful either. The Holy Maiden of the Supreme Sect, Su Luluo, had already led the elites of the Supreme Sect to the front of the true Devil Sect. Although there were few people in the Supreme Sect, they were all extremely capable. Adding on the fact that they were born from faith, they were not afraid of death. So every single Supreme Sect person's fighting strength was exceptionally high. The Blood Demon Plains outside the true Devil Sect was the main battlefield between the Supreme Sect and the true Devil Sect. At this moment, the Devil Chi on the plains soared into the sky. The Devil Cultivator dressed in black robes and the Supreme Sect dressed in white robes were fighting fiercely. All kinds of strange profound technique S and limitless profound Chi S intersected crazily. The earth trembled violently. The sky darkened. Blood flowed like a river. The corpses of the Devil Cultivator and the Supreme Sect were like scattered beans, covering the plains. Inside the Hall of Bones, the elders were doing their best to heal the injured Octagon Aniseed. "Elder, how is the Vice Sect leader?" Ju Mo, who had returned from the front lines, anxiously asked the 2 demons standing beside the formation. He looked at the round demon who was treating Octagon Aniseed and said solemnly, "The 7 of them are prepared, using the magic treasure that the Supreme Sect Master used to refine with his source energy. Right now, this limitless profound Chi is deposited in the Vice Sect Master's body and is extremely difficult to remove. If we want to completely eradicate it, it will take at least 3 to 5 years." As the sound of his voice faded, everyone's face became gloomy. The people of Supreme Sect, are obviously targeting the vice sect master. Damn it! Damn it! Zhu Mo clenched his fists tightly and gnashed his teeth. How's the situation at the front lines? The two devils asked. The rock demons and the demon guard are currently organizing the sect members to counterattack. The number of Supreme Sect people led by the Holy Maiden are not many, so they can still resist for the time being. However, according to the treasures, the Supreme Sect's army is currently rushing over, and based on the initial estimation, there are more than 400,000 people. The Imperial Guards have already met up with the army 2 hours ago, and are leading the army to support the Holy Maiden. What? Hearing Zhu Mo's words, the two devils and the others revealed shocked expressions. Octagon Aniseed, who had his eyes closed and was receiving treatment from the round demon, suddenly opened his eyes. He stared at Zhu Mo and said in a deep voice, Zhu Mo, what did you say? Tai, Shanwei is here. Vice Sect Leader. The demons surrounded him. Vice Sect Leader, please focus on recuperating. Your injuries are still very severe. If you do not stabilize the limitless profound qi that has accumulated in your body as soon as possible, when they cause chaos in your body, not only will your life be in danger, even your cultivation will regress. The round demon who was giving Octagon Aniseed qi immediately said in a deep voice. Octagon Aniseed took a deep breath and slowly closed his eyes. The round demon also slowly closed his eyes, but words came out of his mouth. Two devils. Before the sect master comes out, I will leave everything to you. Yes, sir, the two devils hurriedly said. Second Elder, what should we do now? Zhu Mo asked. The Supreme Guard is the personal guard of the Supreme Sect Master. He has personally come here. I'm afraid he has the intention to destroy my true devil sect, but the Supreme Sect should not underestimate us. Has the devil cultivator at the front lines returned yet? The two demons asked. They have already begun to gather, but according to my initial estimates, it will take at least 3 days for the people at the front lines to return, and the people from the Supreme Sect might arrive in 2 days. The devil cultivator at the front lines, together with the armies of the various powers, has a total of more than 600,000, which is enough to deal with the Supreme Sect. Wait for the front lines to arrive. The two devils said solemnly. There aren't many people in the sect right now, and the Holy Maiden has already killed thousands of our devil cultivator. Her cultivation is extremely high, and I'm afraid she's on par with the Supreme Guard. If the Vice Sect Master is not injured, she would still be able to fight, but the Vice Sect Master's injuries are so severe that she is unable to contend against him. The Great Elder can also fight with the Holy Maiden, but he must suppress the Vice Sect Master's injuries, and it will be difficult for him to escape. Right now, the only person he can rely on is probably the Sect Master. Zhu Mo sighed again and again, his face full of worry. Is there still no movement from the cultivation grounds? The 10th Elder is already waiting outside the cultivation grounds, but there is no news of the Sect Master coming out. She can't wait to break through the Sect Master's seal and invite the Sect Master over. But the Sect Master seal is extremely strong, so it's impossible for her to break through. There was no longer any help. The two devils took a deep breath, their faces filled with an uncontrollable solemnity. Pass down the order, fight to the death. A sonorous sound came from the mouths of the two devils. Zhu Mo nodded, without saying a word. He turned and walked out of the hall. The people of Supreme Sect had faith and were not afraid of death, but the people of Devil Sect also had faith and were also not afraid of death. Pairs of blood-red eyes, shrouded by the devil Qi, stared straight at the incoming enemies. One by one, their figures fell, but no one retreated, no one was timid. If one were to put aside the strange and inexplicable faith of the people of Supreme Sect, the craziest person in this world would probably be this devil cultivator. After Zhu Mo left, the battle continued. The Holy Maiden's attack could be easily blocked, but the most worrying thing was the hundreds of thousands of Supreme Sect elites led by the Grand Guard. Before the Sect Master came out of seclusion, Octagon Aniseed was ambushed and was heavily injured. Due to Octagon Aniseed's injuries, the Round Demon was unable to participate in the battle, and with Demon Lord Su Yun's departure, The heavy burden of commanding the true devil sect fell onto the two devils. He did not boast that he was a smart and talented person, nor was he a leader, but he would do his best to protect everything in the true devil sect. Elder RMO. At this moment, another group of people walked into the hall. The two devils looked over and realized that these people were actually the forces that were forced to the front of the true devil sect by Octagon Aniseed. There were men, women, old and young. All of them were existences of the Spirit Emperor, and they were all sect leader-level figures. These people all had worried expressions on their faces, and the way they looked at the two devils was a little strange. The leader was Taoist Ming Xian, the sect leader of the Heavenly Tao sect. Holding onto his horsetail whisk, he walked in and looked at the two devils, Octagon Aniseed, and the others with an ugly expression. Elder RMO. There's something I don't know if I should say. The two devils frowned. Since everyone is here, if you have anything to say, just say it. I'm all ears. Since that's the case, we won't beat around the bush. Taoist Ming Xian said indifferently. Supreme Sect is tyrannical. They are all mediocre people. And in the past few years, they have bullied many spirit cultivators, and it can be said that all the people in the myriad heavens realm hate them to the extreme, and today, we are forced to join forces with your true devil sect, just to uphold justice on behalf of the heavens, to eliminate the Supreme Sect, and prevent them from continuing to do evil. However, everything is ready. We will do everything we can to fight together with you guys against the Supreme Sect, but you guys have made such a huge mistake. Shouldn't you guys give us an explanation for the matter of Demon Mountain? When the two devils heard this, they immediately understood that these people were here to interrogate them. The three-bone dragon has already been imprisoned. When my devil sect master comes out, he will definitely be severely punished. But the Demon Mountain has been lost. The Supreme Sect has charged straight in and killed their way into the true devil sect. Who knows how many of our disciples have died? And now that the alliance has been defeated, the war is in an emergency. What's the use of you punishing a three-bone dragon? Then what do you want? The two devils' eyes were scarlet red. Their devil chi burst forth as they stared coldly at these people. Do you want all of us from the true devil sect to commit suicide to atone for our crimes? That won't be necessary. Taoist priest Ming Xian said in a deep voice. We have come here now only to bid farewell to all of you. The fault of the Demon Mountain is all on your true devil sect. Now that the war is in an emergency, the hundreds of thousands of troops of the Supreme Sect are rushing over. They are already unstoppable. We are unable to fight against them. The main target of the Supreme Sect is your true devil sect. We will not accompany you in death. When the two devils heard this, their eyebrows twitched. What do you mean? We will immediately release the news and tell the disciples at the front lines to change their route and leave. We will no longer participate in this battle, and if this matter did not happen to you, we would not shirk our duty. However, we will not let our disciples sacrifice themselves for you in vain, so we will not say anything more. Farewell. With that, Taoist priest Ming Xian flung his horsetail whisk and turned to leave. The two devils' faces darkened. Farewell. We've wanted to leave for a long time. Being in cahoots with the devil cultivator, it won't be good if word gets out. The rest of the people either coldly snorted or cupped their fists and left one after another. No one stayed. His expression became more and more unsightly. His fists were trembling. There was anger in his chest, but it was released. He stared at the people who were leaving, and in the end, he fiercely smashed his fist onto the pillar beside him, shattering the pillar made of demon bones. Angry? At this moment, a voice came out. The two devils suddenly turned around, only to see that Octagon Aniseed had opened his eyes again. Vice Sect Leader, hurry up and heal your injuries. The two devils hurriedly said, I'm only asking you, are you angry? Octagon Aniseed said indifferently. The two devils were silent for a moment, then nodded. Don't worry, we won't lose. At least, the true devil sect won't be destroyed just like that. Octagon Aniseed revealed a smile that he hadn't seen in a long time as he said softly, Vice Sect Leader, why do you say that? Ha ha, cough, cough, cough. Two devils, you really are an idiot. How can a sect that can fight against immortals and gods be destroyed so easily? As elders of the true devil sect, you don't even understand this point? Don't worry. Although the supreme sect is strong, the true devil sect is not weak. We will wait and see. Those fellows, if they want to leave, then let them go. After this battle is over, we will settle the score with them. The corner of his mouth raised into a sinister smile. If you're on the same side as us, then we are friends. If they abandon us, then they will betray us. They are our enemies. In the future, we will definitely not let them off. A cold voice came out. The two devils nodded. Vice sect leader, don't talk anymore. Heal your injuries. The round demon said in a deep voice. Ugh. All right. Chapter 763. Bang. A terrifying explosion spread out in the center of the Blood Demon Plains, and the surroundings of the explosion were filled with pitch-black true devil sect members. The shockwave tore apart their battle robes, tore apart their skin and flesh, and blood splattered in all directions. It was like a gigantic and bewitching rose had bloomed on the plains. Disperse, all of you disperse. Don't gather together. The limitless profound chi can absorb our devil chi. The more we gather, the more we absorb. All of them spread out. Try your best to use the profound technique to fight. Do not fight head-on. Zhu Mo, who was flying the air, roared loudly. What profound chi? I don't care. If these fellows dare to behave atrociously in the true devil sect, I will exterminate them. The rock demon raised its two gigantic hammers and roared angrily. Bring out the demon lion. Yes, elder. As the roar faded, two pitch-black whirlpool-like holes appeared at the back of the true devil sect's group. A terrifying roar came from within the cave. Soon after, two pitch-black lions that were as big as small mountains rushed out. The lion's entire body was overflowing with a dense devil chi. Its bell-like eyes were blood-red and terrifying. The demon lion rushed out and crashed into the crowd of supreme sect people, crazily biting and tearing. However, a few supreme sect people surrounded them and forced their way over. Everyone activated the limitless profound chi, and in the blink of an eye, they completely absorbed the dense devil chi of the demon lion. Other than brute force, these demon lions no longer had any lethality. Puffed, puffed. A few ear-piercing sounds rang out, and the mountain-like demon lion was sliced into several pieces and died. Seeing this, the rock demon went completely crazy. It let out a hoarse roar and rushed forward with its sledgehammer. The strength of the supreme sect people was beyond his imagination. Jumo's expression changed drastically. Rock demon, don't be rash, come back quickly. However, the rock demon was like a stubborn ox, unable to be pulled back at all. As he shouted, he had already rushed to the front. The people of Supreme Sect naturally would not show mercy. Seeing that the rock demon was rushing over alone, they immediately surrounded him and activated the limitless profound chi once again. The devil chi of the rock demon was not that special either. When these Supreme Sect people got close to him, the profound chi on his body was absorbed into a golden light. Chi, a sharp blade, silently pierced through the tough skin of the rock demon, tearing his chest apart. The rock demon's sturdy body trembled. Its blood-red eyes opened wide like a bull's. Blood splattered under his eyelids. However, he did not fall. Instead, he released a hysterical roar and suddenly extended his hand, grabbing onto the Supreme Sect person who was holding onto the sword and crazily driving. Whoosh! The Supreme Sect disciple's body was torn into two halves, and blood splattered into the air. With just brute force, he was able to tear apart the people of the Greater One Sect. The rock demon's innate divine strength was indeed not an undeserved reputation. It was just that without the support of the profound chi, the current rock demon could not hold on in front of so many Supreme Sect people for long. He urged his body to rush forward. Holding onto the sledgehammer, he fiercely smashed it towards the Supreme Sect people. Even though he had lost the profound chi, the power of the sledgehammer was still unimaginable and could often cause people to feel dizzy and vomit blood. However, hundreds of swords attacked from all directions. The rock demon's body was pierced by the sharp swords, and its injuries became more and more severe. However, he had an unyielding spirit. No matter how many holes there were in his body, it was difficult for him to stop. Even if his arms were cut off and his flesh and bones were dug out, he was still moving his legs. In the end, both of his legs were chopped off and his head was chopped off. Only when he reached a point where he had no other choice did he stop his advance and completely die. When he took another look, the Supreme Sex formation was completely scattered by this flesh and blood body. It was a complete defeat. The moment the rock demon's soul left his body, it was completely absorbed by the limitless, profound chi. The Devil Sex rock demon elder had completely sacrificed himself on the battlefield. The Devil Cultivator S from behind rushed over, bringing with him a force that did not care about anything else. The power of anger and heat was like a tide as it crushed towards the Supreme Sect people. The rock demon's actions had completely infuriated them, igniting all of the demon blood in their bodies. This time, Jumo could no longer command them. Kill! 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 The Devil Cultivator roared and pounced forward like a madman. Even though their devil chi had been sucked dry, they no longer retreated or even dodged and completely fought with the Supreme Sect people head-on. The death of the rock demon had stimulated them. Jumo stood there in a daze. A moment later, a sinister look appeared on his face, and he no longer stood there. He took out his demon equipment and rushed forward. The madness of the Devil Cultivator caused the people of the Supreme Sect to be unable to advance any further. On the contrary, under the suppression of the number of people, the people of the Supreme Sect started to retreat step by step, and more people died under the madness of the Devil Cultivator. Even if the Devil Chi was absorbed, they would still rely on brute force to fight, or use their magic tools to bombard, or use their fists to smash, or even use their mouths to bite. However, this group of so-called wild beasts made the craziest Supreme Sect people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Holy Maiden Su Luluo frowned. She looked down at the pure white that was gradually being engulfed by the darkness, and a trace of coldness surfaced on her face. A sinful person will never understand how filthy he is and how foolish his actions are. We still have a long way to go on the path of leading the world onto the right path and experience many obstacles and perplexities. However, I will not give up, nor will I stop. Sooner or later, all of you will understand the true meaning of what we are seeking. Su Luluo muttered softly. Her perfect and flawless hands were gently raised, her palms facing the sky, forming a flower shape. The pure, limitless, profound chi around her body started to become restless. They were like dancing wind spirits, revolving around Su Luluo, from his feet to his raised palm, condensing into the shape of a plum blossom. This plum blossom was snow white in color. The chi threads were moving between the petals. It was charming and beautiful. Jumo seemed to have sensed something. He suddenly raised his head to look at the woman in the sky. His twisted face was filled with endless hatred. He gathered all the devil chi in his body and rushed towards Su Luluo. A hoarse roar erupted from his mouth. Supreme Sect, purify this filthy world. May the light of the Supreme Tao shine upon each and every one of your souls. Su Luluo slowly closed his eyes, and the white plum blossom in his hand lightly fell. The plum blossom bloomed and slowly fell to the ground. The fragrance of the plum blossom overflowed from the flower and floated towards the heaven and earth. But as it floated, it suddenly changed, transforming into many sharp and terrifying blades that slashed towards all living beings. A gust of wind blew, and a rain of blades began to fall. Regardless of whether it was the people of Supreme Sect or the true Devil Sect, they were all wrapped up by the wind and rain of blades. Puffed, puffed, puffed. Devil Cultivator was attacked by the sharp blades. Some had their arms cut off, some had their heads cut off, some had their bodies cut off, and some were directly dismembered. In the blink of an eye, countless of Devil Cultivator died. A large number of corpses fell, and blood almost soaked the ground. Because of the charge of the Devil Cultivator, many of the Devil Cultivator S were sucked dry by the limitless, profound chi, and they did not have the protection of the devil chi. Facing such a large area of profound technique, many people had already lost the ability to defend. On the contrary, the people of Supreme Sect were fully prepared. They gave up on attacking the devil cultivator and used all their strength to defend. Although this technique was extremely terrifying and had killed many of the injured Supreme Sect people, the majority of them still relied on their own limitless profound chi to survive. The wind and rain of blades continued for the time it took for half an incense stick to burn before it slowly stopped. Just like the calm of a storm, the gloomy sky regained a trace of luster. But it was a bloody light. The ground was littered with the corpses of the true devil sect people, and not many of them were complete. The blood demon plains had been cut off by nearly 5 meters. There were no mountains, and there were no rocks larger than the size of a fist. After the appearance of the terrifying plum blossom, there were no more than 100 devil cultivator standing on the plains. On the other hand, there were still close to 1,000 members on the Supreme Sect side. Jumo's body fell to the ground. At this moment, there were close to 1,000 wounds all over his body, and his right arm was almost cut open. Fresh blood dripped down from the wounds on his body. He was gasping for breath, but at this moment, even breathing was difficult. A few of the main chi meridian S on his body had been cut open, and not much of the devil chi was left. The Holy Maiden was too strong. Her limitless profound chi was not something that ordinary Supreme Sect people could contend against. Although Ju Mo was an elder of the true devil sect, compared to the Holy Maiden, the difference was not just a little bit. Filthy people, you have already lost your chance. You have lost your chance for redemption. Now let me purify you. Su Luluo descended from the sky, looked at Ju Mo indifferently, and then walked over step by step. It was like a judge making the final verdict on a criminal. Redemption. Ju Mo raised his head with all his might and looked at the person walking towards him. His delicate and pretty face did not show the slightest bit of fear. On the contrary, even though he was severely injured, the fanaticism on his face did not diminish. Since I have entered the devil sect, I have already been redeemed. Why should I be bewitched by your supreme divine Tao? He said weakly, and then he actually took a step forward and walked towards Su Luluo. With every step he took, his body would tremble crazily. With every step he took, the blood on his body would flow even more fiercely, but he was not afraid and did not stop. I will use my actions to tell you that our true devil sect, every single one of us devil cultivators, are not people who are afraid of death. Anyone who dares to invade the true devil sect will pay a painful price. He used the last of his strength to shout. Suddenly, his expression turned sinister as he raised the magic artifact in his hand and rushed forward. With a fearless and resolute attitude, he took the most important and final step in his life, Dong. A stream of profound chi suddenly blasted over, instantly shattering Ju Mo's body into pieces. This terrifying profound chi, along with his soul, was also completely torn apart. Ju Mo died. Chapter 764. In the silent hall, the two devils sat alone in front of the door, waiting for news. The round demon and octagon aniseed were still recuperating in the hall, while the rest of the people were sent to the front lines. Almost all the power that the true devil sect could send out had been sent out, without holding anything back. Report. A fiend-kind quickly walked in. What is it? The two devils raised their heads. The Broken Luo sect will lead 30,000 devil cultivator and head towards the rear of my true devil sect. Broken Luo sect? Heh. A group of second-rate sects that gather ferocious demons. Seeing that the Supreme Sect and my true devil sect are at war, do you want to reap some benefits? Mo snorted and said, tell the people at the back to be alert. I've long expected that someone would come to take advantage of the situation, so I've already sent the demon guard to guard the back. You don't have to panic. Hearing the words of the two devils, the devil cultivator's solemn face relaxed a little. You may leave. Yes. The fiend-kind turned and ran away. Report. At this moment, another demonic dweller rushed over. Second elder. The devil cultivator directly knelt in front of the two devils, bowed his head, and said fiercely, "Second Elder, urgent report from the front line. The two elders, Jew Mo and Rock Demon, have already died in battle." With that said, a hint of sorrow flashed through the two devils' eyes. He stared at the devil cultivator, unable to speak for a long time. The atmosphere was somewhat solemn. The Holy Maiden's cultivation is simply too strong. In addition to the limitless profound chi, it is very difficult for us to contend against them. Second Elder, if no one can restrain the Holy Maiden, then even if we have more people than them, it will still be useless. The Holy Maiden can exhaust us just by herself. The devil cultivator clenched his fists, as if he hated himself for not being strong enough. I understand. The two devils were silent for a while. They stood up and reached into their bosoms. Not long after, they took out a blood-red bead and handed it over to the devil cultivator. The demonic dweller was puzzled. Second Elder, take it and immediately head to the sect's forbidden area and hand it over to the guards there. Ah, the devil cultivator's body trembled. Forbidden area? Second Elder, the sect has long established strict rules that no one is allowed to approach the forbidden area. Otherwise, they will be killed without mercy. Now is different from the past, and the sect master is not here. The vice sect master and the demon lord are unable to manage things. I have the final say in the true devil sect. Quickly bring this along. The two devils shouted. Hearing this, the devil cultivator no longer refuted. He nodded and left with the bead. When the two demons saw this, they took a deep breath and walked out with heavy steps. Wanhua Realm. Inside the realm tree. At this moment, all the higher-ups, elites, and sect masters of the Wanhua Realm were gathered together. The entire interior of the gourd was filled with people. Everyone was whispering to each other and discussing. All of them felt extremely strange. As for the pure and beautiful Realm Lord, she was as unmoving as a mountain. She sat on her chair, exuding the demeanor of an empress. She closed her eyes and did not answer their questions, allowing them to guess as they wished. After the Wanhua Realm experienced the last time, it could be said that they had returned to the time before liberation. The defense system of the Wanhua Realm had collapsed in the battle between the Supreme Expertess, and during this period of time, the Realm Master had focused all of her power on rebuilding the defense system. However, what made the people of the Wanhua Realm puzzled was that these things were only instructed by the Realm Master, but during this period of time, she had left the Wanhua Realm and had only returned recently. Today, everyone was gathered here. It was the orders of the Realm Master, but no one knew what was going on. Whoosh! Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blew into the mouth of the gourd, followed by waves of hearty laughter. Big Brother Zhanwu, you are still inferior to me in this inheritance technique. I won again. Ha! As the sound of his voice faded, a figure suddenly appeared in the middle of the crowd. The surrounding Realm Tree people were shocked. They did not even know when this stranger had arrived. Your profound chi is special. Leaning towards the spatial attribute, I am ashamed of my inferiority. A black shadow flashed at the mouth of the gourd, and when it disappeared, a man wearing a purple robe appeared above the crowd. This person was Sword Ancestor's close friend, Zhanwu. You guys like to fight even when you're on the road. When are you going to be the boss? In my opinion, you should choose a time in the future and have a good spar. As the crisp and clear female voice fell, a delicate and pretty lady walked in from the mouth of the gourd. It was Miao Xin. Is this Zhanwu? Wonderful heart. They are all experts above the Spirit Emperor. Some people recognized these uninvited guests and immediately cried out in alarm. Spirit Emperor expert? There are not many people in the Realm Tree who had such a cultivation level. When they heard the shouts, they all revealed looks of astonishment. The scene became somewhat restless. Facing the exclamations of the crowd, the three of them did not care at all. The man who came in first glanced at them and laughed. Big Brother Zhanwu, why isn't Man Xinzi here? Zhu Hong, there are some things that it's better not to let him come. With his temper, I'm worried that he'll cause trouble. Zhanwu shook his head. Do you know why the Sword Ancestor asked us to come here this time? Wondrous Heart said, I'm not sure, but it won't be a small matter. Otherwise, the Sword Ancestor would not have notified us in such a hurry. Zhan Wu said solemnly. As the three of them spoke, they treated the people around them as air. Realm Master slowly opened her eyes, looked at the three uninvited guests, and gently stood up. It seems like the three of you were also summoned by the Sword Ancestor. Her melodious voice floated out. Although the scene was a little noisy, her voice was exceptionally loud, making it hard for people not to hear it. That's right. Zhan Wu nodded. Could it be that you guys are the same? The Sword Ancestor seems to have something to discuss with us, so I gathered everyone here. I have something to discuss with you. The handsome man called Zhu Hong revealed a disdainful smile. With your cultivation, what can you discuss with the Sword Ancestor? What's there to discuss? His words were filled with ridicule, and when his voice came out, it caused the people of Realm Tree present to be extremely angry. However, no one dared to say anything. These fellows were not ordinary Spirit Emperoress. They were at least around the 4th or 5th grade. Their cultivation was extremely strong. If they were to offend one of them, the consequences would be severe. Zhu Hong's words were extremely rude, but Zhan Wu did not say anything to stop him. The strong had their own pride, and they also had the attitude that the strong should have. In their position, there was no need to be polite to the weak. Realm Master looked down at Zhu Hong. She quietly looked at him for 3 breaths of time, then said softly, "What you mean is that our Wanhua realm does not need to participate in the matter of the Sword Ancestor." Of course, Zhu Hong was not polite at all. "If that's the case, we are willing to withdraw." Realm Master was also very straightforward. That's for the best," Zhu Hong said indifferently. Realm Master nodded. She was not angry, and her expression did not even change at all. She directly nodded to Rong Myuk, and then everyone slowly left the mouth of the gourd. Seeing the actions of the Wanhua realm people, Zhan Wu frowned. He was a little displeased. "Everyone, please wait." At this moment, a voice came out from the gourd. "Sword Ancestor." Miao Xian anxiously looked towards the mouth of the gourd, only to see that the Sword Ancestor had already walked into the mouth of the gourd. His complexion was much better than before, but his own strength was still very weak. After all, he was only a spirit body and not his original body. The appearance of the Sword Ancestor caused the extremely tense atmosphere to ease up a little. The people of Realm Tree stopped in their tracks and looked at the person who walked in. "Yo, Sword Ancestor, long time no see, huh?" Zhu Hong extended his hand and waved at Sword Ancestor. Sword Ancestor cupped his fists and said, "Everyone, please calm down. Today, I have something important to announce, so I hope that everyone will not hold grudges against each other. Please calm down and discuss important matters." When Sword Ancestor's words fell, everyone knew that there was something important to announce today. "Do you have something to discuss? We can just talk about it. Why did you call these weaklings over?" Zhu Hong did not understand. Zhan Wu Ning said, "Zhu Hong, for the sake of the Sword Ancestor, don't say anymore. Calm down. Let's see what's going on first." Zhan Wu opened his mouth. Although Zhu Hong was a little unhappy, he did not say much. Rong Myuk looked at Realm Master, who nodded his head, and Realm Tree returned to the middle of the gourd. Sword Ancestor slowly walked in. Looking at the dense crowd below, he waited for them to quiet down, then said, "Today, I have gathered everyone here because I have something to ask of you. Please, if you need anything, just tell us. We will definitely help you complete it." Ever since the Sword Ancestor appeared, her gaze had always been fixed on him and had never shifted from him. Xian Ru is too serious. Actually, it's not for myself, but for everyone. I hope that everyone can quickly prepare to welcome the upcoming turmoil. The upcoming turmoil? As the sound of his voice faded, everyone was stunned. Yes, the 10,000 realms might already be in chaos. Time is running out. Everyone, please quickly spread the news. Warn everyone, quickly mobilize. If everyone does not prepare early, all that awaits you is death, Sword Ancestor said in a serious tone. Sword Ancestor, why do you say that? Zhan Wu shouted in a serious tone. Because the order of the 10,000 realms has already been broken. Sword Ancestor shook his head. And just now, in front of him there was nothing. There was only a grayish-white color, and within this color there were no impurities. It was as clean as a spotless piece of white paper. Su Yun stepped on the air, his hand tightly holding onto the death sword. All the profound chi in his body had been used up like silk being peeled off a cocoon. The imperial battle robe on his body did not have much divine power left. The golden light was so dim that it looked like a candle that could be extinguished at any time. At this moment, he could be said to be extremely weak. He could even feel that his soul was jumping around in his body, as if it was going to break out of his body in the next second. The surrounding silence was frightening. It was so quiet that one could hear their own heartbeat. The million people had already merged into the void and completely disappeared. However, this was not the end. Su Yun looked forward and saw a thin golden line in the distance. The thin line was extremely long, piercing left and right, as if it was cutting through the entire supreme realm. At first, it was still a line, but it slowly became the size of a stick. When it reached the volume of the surface, Su Yun could already clearly see what it was. It was still someone from a supreme sect. It covered the sky and covered the earth, like a wall that connected the heavens and the earth flying towards them. Su Yun was already unable to estimate how many supreme sect people there were. Compared to the million people from before, the number now was simply heaven-defying and shocking. This was probably the last of the supreme sect's power, all the power of the supreme sect. The sword strike from before had already shocked the entire supreme sect. They could no longer sit still. No matter who it was impossible for them to remain indifferent. Cough, cough, Su Yun coughed a few times, but the corner of his mouth raised into a strange, sinister smile. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.